Welcome everyone to the Todd F. Miller after party. I should have actually had Doctor put in the title too, but I totally nerfed on that one. Welcome everyone to the Todd F. Miller after party. All right, who's got it going in the background? Ollie. I totally nerfed on that one. Welcome everyone.
I think it was me. Sorry.
Oh, it was you, Kevin? Oh,
I think so.
Kevin's a professional, folks.
Well, at least he's a self-flagellator, so that's something.
There you go. Sorry, Ollie. I automatically assumed it was you because, you're stoned and stuff. So
It might have been me. I'm stoned and stuff too.
Damn it! I feel left out. Okay, I'm still hearing it. Why am I still hearing it?
That was kind of weird.
Are you playing it? Don't tell me you're playing it in the background.
Why would I be playing it?
It's only your show. Maybe you wanted to see the live chat. Maybe you wanted to see. Never mind. Far be it for me to tell you how to produce anything.
I don't. My producer isn't here, so that's why we're failing tremendously at the moment.
Yeah. Somebody said, let's put Neil in charge. That's a recipe for success.
Stop lying. Anyway,
Nick, I got to say that I love your decor. I don't know who came up with that decor, but that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's all. That's all me.
Green screen.
It's not green screen, and you know it. You've seen me get up and get things from the book.
I know.
I'm here trying to talk to a very nice gentleman, and you're bringing all this personal shit. Oh dear Lord.
Who's the nice gentleman?
I don't think he's referring to any of us. So
no, I don't think so.
Or gentle lady.
We'll just believe that there's one here. I'm just kidding.
I choose to believe.
I choose to believe. That's right. Actually, I thought we can't choose our beliefs. We're either convinced of something or we're not. I thought that's more like how it works.
That's the way I tend to look at it.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome everyone to the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. If you missed the interview, there is a link below that will take you to that interview, so you can check it out. It's very good. I highly recommend it. Of course, all the really smart stuff is said by this fella right over here, and the dumb comments come from yours truly. But anyways, it's a great show. If you missed it, check it out below. Oh, student Dr. Ben. Ben, how you doing? If you want to join us, let me know. Give me a message, and I'll send you a link. It's always good to have even more smart people in here.
Yep. We talking about Ben Davis?
No, Torben. Okay. Is his name actually? So, anyway, so here we are. We got Canadian Ollymans with us as well, of course, and the guest of honor Todd is with us. Below me is Nick, my good friend Nick, who Nick and I have been talking about starting our own show called Time Out. At some point, we do have to still talk about it, but I have been thrown a bit of a loop with the whole DVT, with the deep vein thrombosis, and with my mom, and so I'm constantly dealing with other shit at the moment, but it will happen soon. We also have from Left at the Valley, we've got Kevin and Sabrina. I should be pointing this way because it's all fucking backwards for some reason.
It's so hard to do.
But
did you like this, Neil? How you doing up there?
Yeah, like Alice from the pretty good. Yeah. Here's a story.
Very much so.
And I already thought of a great round the horn question for tonight. So we'll get to that in a little while. But anyway, once again,
I have a question for you. You said
I've already had a few today. I'm pretty done with. No, go ahead. I'm kidding.
You said something during the show that I disagree with. It was while you guys were talking about rights and responsibilities.
Yes.
And you came up with the example. You have the right to run a red light. That's breaking the law, and you do not have the right to break laws. You do not. So that's
the ability
to run a red light. You have the ability. Somebody. You have the ability to do it. You don't have the right to do it.
Let me rephrase it, because a lot of people go, "Oh, my freedom." Well, you have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, you have the freedom to choose to do that. Yes,
right.
You do not have the right to break a law.
Well, that's not entirely true, but yeah, it's close enough. Okay, so here's the here's the question. You've got somebody in the backseat dying, and you're on the way to the hospital. you now break the law. We have recognized, presumably, that was okay. Now, so here's the question. Do you normally have the right, but that right is restricted? Or and then under certain circumstances, it's not a restriction, or you don't have the right, but there are exceptions.
I think it's that second one. You don't have the right, but there's exceptions.
I was going to argue for the first, but I think it's the second one also. So I'm going to shut up before it. I was trying to find a way to defend Neil, and no, he's indefensible.
If you run the red light with that guy dying in the back seat, and the cop sees you, he's pulling you over, even though you have a guy dying in the back seat. Once he realizes you got a guy dying in the back seat, then he's giving you a police escort to the hospital. But until that point, the exception doesn't kick in.
Well, no, the exception, that I would disagree with. The exception's already kicked in. It's just that it has been recognized.
Recognized. That's better.
But yeah, no, but you're right. I hate to say it, but I have to agree with you. So.
What if you have diplomatic immunity?
There you go. And then you do have the right. You see?
I disagree with diplomatic immunity. To tell you the honest truth, I don't think that should be a thing.
Remember the old Lethal Weapon 2 movie?
Yeah. You cannot give me a parking ticket.
When the South Africans were the bad guys on the block.
Coins.
That's correct.
Yeah. That was the coins again. I'm
By the way,
really
just
lacking on
I
that.
kind of know all of who I'm speaking with here. You seem all part of your own online blogs or online vlogs, or so is that how everyone knows each other?
I think more or less that's how we all got connected, one way or another. Yeah.
Are y'all Canadian?
Yes, I was actually sending Neil some dick pics, and I told him stop until when he gets me. That's how it
Because I'm an American and nobody's apologized to me yet.
It'll happen.
You guys are supposed to be so polite that you apologize before you speak.
Trump, we have to apologize to the rest of the world, quite frankly. I'm an American too, so there you go. So you got company.
Nick knows we have a lot more to apologize for.
Dear Lord, do we? But that's the nice thing about being south of Canada. We can find a way to make them apologize for us.
Hello, Phoebe.
I think the best description of Canada is like that nice place when you're living above a meth lab.
Yeah,
exactly. And they run around. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. They're just cooking meth 24/7.
Thank you.
You know,
now I feel complete.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, guys. One day Canada will take over, and then you'll all be sorry.
that one never gets old.
We also have a representative from the British Isles with us now in Phoebe.
Ooh.
What is she drinking?
We now have a
drinking. Or is that a candle?
We now have a representative from the gutter with Artemis.
Oh, orange marble. Okay, what's mixed in it?
So, Todd, are you aware of the drinking game that we're playing tonight?
No, I'm not.
Every time you hear the coins noise, you're supposed to take a drink. Or have
every time you hear the coin what?
The coin noise.
Like
my
Mario
phone
coins noise?
Does a Mario coin like that? Somebody text me real quick.
Okay, then you take a shot.
Or just a drink of whatever you're drinking, that kind of thing, right? So,
can I drink a candle?
You could, if you want.
If that's your shit, drink a goddamn candle.
Hello, Artemis. This is a brain sample. I like this.
Hello.
If you were in Canada or someplace else where it's legal,
I love you, and that's what I got. Oh, look, someone from the gutter.
Well, the T-shirt says it all.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yikes.
Is it night where you're at? Because I feel like you're trying to be Corey.
I really wanted to ask what was going on and how everybody was feeling, and nope, what I get was, hey, here's a guy from the gutter.
Actually, Artie's actually one of the very first folks that I befriended in the whole YouTube atheism sort of thing. So.
I am probably his first Hoosier.
Oh, yeah. Once you have a Hoosier, you never go back.
Maybe.
That's not what I've heard, but
I'm an Aggie, so we don't often meet up in our colleges.
As an old single guy, I don't think that's a thing.
Looks like everybody's enjoying their own beverage and or snack.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
But Alderman, are you token there, or was that a cigar? Say cigar.
No, that was
Hey,
one
Ben.
of those day pens with marijuana extract in it.
Okay, very good.
Oh, look,
But it's pretty
Ben-
much empty, so I'm not really getting anything out of it.
As long as it's medicinal.
Ben's got the old professional thing going on in the background here.
I'm in Canada. It's purely recreational.
Ah, hey Ben,
So
not a lot.
I had to get a second drink, so that's why I was late. Because I know the first one's gonna go pretty quickly. So, we're double fisting tonight.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
they all say. The first one's gonna go quick.
coffee by
I mean, it's a
day
light
and
beer.
booze by night.
I do have to say, I don't know who all was in the chat. We were talking about Beerios the other day, but I streamed on my Twitch. I ate Beerios.
You did?
Fun.
I witnessed that shit. It was ridiculous.
It was weird.
He
Well, Ben,
looked
where
like he
you,
was trying to puke at one point. They were so foul as far as he was concerned.
No, they weren't bad for the most part. It was just when they got soggy, that's when they were bad.
Ben,
an
where are you going to
Oreo.
school, and how far along are you?
So I'm a third year, well, just starting my third year in medical school. I'm at ASCOM, Arizona College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I start my first rotation on August 2nd. So
Wait a minute. You
Wonderful.
tell me they have schools
Congratulations.
hold on a second. You tell me they have schools in Arizona? Really?
yeah, I know it's surprising.
I know.
People here don't act like it.
Here's the other thing. There's civilization in Arizona, allegedly.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
If you're sitting there driving, Zoni's driving. I mean, it is the most dangerous driving in America. I mean,
I am sitting on a wholly
It's
inappropriate Arizona joke right now.
there is nothing inappropriate in an after party hosted by.
Maybe you of
so
all
horrible.
people know that's bullshit.
Fair.
Isn't there the one about the Arizona barking spider?
Nope. It's more about Arizona being a test kitchen.
Test kitchen for what?
Yeah, like what? I what?
Remember when I said I wasn't going to tell the joke?
Yeah. Well, come on, man. What's a party for?
You done fucked up, Artie.
It is inappropriate, and I'm not going to do it on somebody else's channel.
You don't think?
Listen,
Neil-
if it's something that can
Neil
if
taught
it's-
me this. Neil
if it's
taught
some-
me decency, and
Okay.
I
problem.
am not going to joke. This joke on his
Neil
That's the
taught.
best joke I've heard all day. Neil taught me decency.
He
Oh
knows
my
what
God.
I'm talking about.
What have I stumbled into?
I probably should have warned you.
Neil has never once thwarted anything I've tried to say. However,
If it's going to get Neil demonetized, I honestly don't mind.
yeah, no. It's however, we are also actually friends. So some shit you just don't fucking say.
Fair
I
enough.
love it.
Fair enough.
I love that kind of a
We're all
friend.
friends around here, you know. We're all.
Yeah, no, trust me. The only people that are going to think this is fun are me and anybody that's not involved in this.
That's humor. That's humor defined.
I know. Well, it is, but that's still
Hashtag
1 out of
clickbait.
9, and that's not going to make me feel better about any part of sharing it.
All
Can
right,
someone
all right. Well,
please
then-
clip that out because we need to save that.
Oh, yeah,
We do.
The tons of mice. Neil's taught me decency. Now we know he's lying. Yeah.
Can we make it a meme?
I think Tons of Mice is in the chat, and I'm sure he'll be right over onto Twitch. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and he'll clip it, and then he'll post it there. Clip.
Phoebe, you're showing an awful lot of leg there.
I was gonna say, at least we can't see her
I
ankle.
wasn't supposed to notice.
As long as it's not her ankles, because like decency, we're trying to go for
Well, that's
decency
right.
tonight.
I went to the Amish produce store earlier this morning,
Where
so
are you? Pennsylvania.
seeing any part of a knee. I said I was a Hoosier. I'm from Indiana.
I know what a Hoosier is, damn it.
I
know what a Uber is
literally
too.
rent a house from an Amishman.
As a token Michiganian, I refuse to call myself a token Michigander. I know what a bloody Hoosier is.
What was the first thing you called Michiganiers?
Yes, a Michiganian.
UP or LP?
You laugh.
I do, because nobody calls them that.
Nobody calls them.
You're either a Youper or a Michigander. You're not a Michiganian.
The internet disagrees with you.
The internet can blow me.
That's a lot of people, and some of them you don't. You may want to.
I'm not bitching about the numbers.
I'm not talking about the numbers either. I'm talking about the quality in general. But
I don't care. I welcome all gubbers.
Oh,
I am a
Little on the nose there,
taker.
Irish.
I am a taker, not a giver.
See, but also this is the whole reason how I knew I was trans. Like, I really only became trans because I wanted to show off my ankles, and I was like, well, this is unacceptable.
And now
Now
you
that
made your mark.
Crocs have become
Now
so
I can.
popular.
Now my ankles are no longer sexual. All right.
But were you born with the right gender ankles? I mean,
I don't know.
Surely there's an ankle fetishist somewhere.
Somebody has just clipped my ankle and is doing weird things over it.
Well, except for
Yeah,
that ligament tendon thing
Yeah.
that was.
That's extra. You know, people pay extra for that.
See, I've had many a conversation with my classmates about like how we're paying for medical school and how a lot of us should just start selling foot pictures and pay off med school. It's been a real conversation. Like we actually
What you should do is you should just film yourself putting gloves on and just sell them.
oh,
just an OnlyFans, but it's
That'll
just
work.
putting gloves on. Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
that would
just
actually
putting
do
gloves
really
on
well.
and feet.
Like used gloves and like sell them in vending machines like it's Japan.
and then just like have bonus like add-ons like that you talk about. You talk about putting the gloves on. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, okay, now we're going to start the examination. And that'll just.
And now we make. So I just need to start an ASMR channel, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah,
say ASMR.
I was
Well-
actually. So it was really funny. I had a video recently that I got out that I did with Arden Navidin, and I was going through my analytics yesterday about what people search to find this video. And of course, people search Arden Navidin and they get this video. They also search sex doctor and they get this video.
I think they should search feet. Hashtag feet this video.
Hashtag student Dr. Feet.
So would you say, Artie, that video popped up in your feet? That was kind of a stretch there. Sorry,
It was right up the old elementary soul.
All I can say is it popped up between your toes.
Yeah, it was right between the toenail juice
Oh,
what?
and the jam.
yeah.
Now, here's the question: why do you have to bring English music into this? What is wrong with jam?
The gem, yeah. Apparently, they have nice feet. I don't know.
Apparently, and toenail juice.
Whatever that is.
How are you going to end up with toenail jam if you don't start with toenail juice?
I don't know. Ask the band members.
Well, how many toenails do you got to
Oh,
squeeze
God.
to get juice out?
Oh God, there's a clip.
Is that like a secret? Is that like a secret? If you secret B side on like on A side to a jam vinyl or something?
Neil, have I sent you way too much Snarky Puppy recently?
Snarky puppy?
Awesome.
Tons of
I'm
mice
about to
put
send
in
you way too much
OnlyFans.
Snarky Puppy.
Well, yeah.
What was that, Ben? Say that again.
I'm
Tons
familiar
of
with
mice putting
skinny
in
puppy.
OnlyFans. Link in the chat.
Yeah.
Snarky
No,
Puppy.
don't do that.
Snarky Puppy is a jazz ensemble
Oh, yeah.
of
Is this on the? Is this the? Oh no!
like 15 of the greatest musicians of
Crying
the
out loud!
Stop crying!
Well, hold on. I have a question. Artie, did they do skinny puppy stuff in jazz form?
No. It's Snarky Puppy. It's an
I get it.
entirely different entity. There's no tie between the puppies.
Okay.
There's
There's a
no
joke waiting to
middle
happen
ground
right
where
there.
This puppy meets that puppy and they become puppies. totally different things. Snarky Puppy is a fusion rock jazz ensemble.
A fusion rock jazz ensemble.
Yeah,
Did you just select words at random there? Go, that one sounds nice. That
No,
one
no,
sounds
that's
nice.
what
that
I
one-
did
or
was-
is that an actual thing? The way you said it.
I reached deep down into my inner band person.
Yikes!
What am I doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? Good grief!
I
Well,
honestly,
know what
I
I'm
don't know.
doing. I'm avoiding using specific words.
Sabrina's gone.
She'll be right
Yeah, I don't
back. Just bring the dog
On
out.
this screen, on the
We're scaring
9
people.
screens that are here, Artie, you're sandwiched between 2 trans people. Nothing is TMI.
Well, this
I-
hasn't happened since my last apartment.
got to be the most eclectic group of people I've ever seen. We'll take that
Yes.
as a compliment. Thank you, Potato Guzzler.
Woo!
Yes.
And welcome to the show, by the way.
Diversity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I the old one? Is that who I am?
The old one.
You're,
Depends how
Your
you
one.
define. Depends how
I
you define
wish.
the word "one" here.
Okay, am I the one that's had the most heart attacks?
Maybe.
Probably.
Probably.
I
I've
don't
never
know.
had one.
Anyone?
I don't know how to heart attack.
Anyone?
Here?
Anyone beat 3? Anyone?
No.
All right.
That's a lot.
Do I
That's a
have
lot
the
of
most-
That's a lot.
Do I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the most
One's a
stents?
lot.
One's a lot, yeah.
Does
but
anybody
that's-
have 7 stents?
Oh,
No.
You
Don't
are
have
a
any.
cardiologist.
you need to switch hobbies,
Nightmare,
dude.
my
It's not a
friend.
good
Our cardiologist student's dream.
You
Lay
need to
off the
find something
fatty
else
bastard.
to
I'm not
be
gonna be a
proud of.
cardiologist.
That's
I-
It turns out if you're a significant prick and just non-compliant, you can get out of having to see your cardiologist. You just take the drugs that they prescribe, you give them the blood tests that they ask for, and you just never agree to see them.
What is
The
wrong
heart
with your
attacks were like
cardiologist?
just-
Why do you hate your cardiologist just so much that you call them?
It's not his cardiologist, it's his heart he hates.
Well, there you go.
It's these carbs.
I would argue that he likes his cardiologist because I imagine he's paying him some money.
No, I'm imagining that his insurance company hates his cardiologist, having to keep
Yeah,
on
that
covering
too.
those bills.
You must love that ER nurse that's so cute. It's like, hit me with the paddles again. Come on.
Like you ever see more than one ER nurse.
Just be like, hey, babe,
What I
can you
have
take
done
a-
is become friendly with the paramedics.
I'll bet. You know my first
I know what
name.
you did. You asked
It's
him if they could take
911
those
on
paddles
speed
home,
dial.
In
right?
fact, I think at least one of the paramedics would, not this row, but maybe the row above me, or one of the paramedics belongs in this menagerie.
We're a menagerie now, are we? I thought we were,
Well,
a zoo.
Motley Crue.
Social experiment.
We're
Kinda
an
feels like
eclectic group.
It's gonna
yeah.
feel like an old
Hashtag
Hollywood Square
More
game.
music.
Yeah. Like, I'm old. Let's go with Motley Crue.
Did
With
you
the
see
umlauts.
the private chat? Okay, I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, I'm hearing you twice, which is
All right, I'm going to turn
even
my
hearing
shit
you
down.
once. I have to.
Does that
like,
go
brace
away?
myself.
Hang on. I don't know.
No, it's
There's only one way to do this, and then just try muting mics and seeing what happens. Oh yeah, it's you, Artie.
All right, hang on.
Or just pretend that you're Sargon from Star Trek and everyone will.
Talk amongst
This- this
yourselves. I'll be
moment
right
is
back.
Well, yeah, no. So the question. So Dr. Miller, was there maybe about 6 months ago? Were you looking for an intern out of curiosity?
No, I was not.
Was that you or no? Okay.
Nobody would want to follow me anyway.
Okay. I have a good friend of mine has read your book and was thrilled by it and speaks about you a lot. And then
Well, they're
was
the
talking-
one.
Yeah, they're the I think it's actually I think unless I'm no because it's the same book. But anyways, he I'm gonna see if I can get him because he'd love to come in. Neil, it's Mouty, so Mouty would love to. But and then he had said that you were. I thought it was you was getting an intern, but I may have conflated. I'm reaching the point where I'm conflating a lot of things, and I don't have an excuse because I ain't drinking. So, but
I'm surprised anyone would buy my book. That's the first thing I'm kind of wondering about.
Well, the thing he was most impressed with, and that's what
appreciate that.
He had said something that, and then when you said, I was just like, oh, it's got to be the same. Was that despite knowing all of these biases and talking about all of these biases, you admit to and openly and honestly say repeatedly, you are just as vulnerable to them as literally everybody else.
Absolutely.
And he found that in particular, just like, okay, so, and then you had followed up with the best you can possibly do is keep every day the struggle to not do them and be present and to try to be aware of it, but you cannot stop it. It's going to continue until the day you die. And that was
exactly.
He's
DB and I thumbs up. Yep.
Yeah, he teaches at Rutgers. He's a psychology professor, but he was very interested in, I remember when he finished your book. It was great. So I reached out to him. Hopefully we can get him.
Even in the free thinking community, we love heroes. I mean, I'm a huge Dawkins and Hitchens and Harris and Dennett fan and Dillahunty and all these people and Neil deGrasse Tyson. But as wonderful these people are, trust me, they are just as fallible as you or me.
And learned that.
Well, exactly. But I mean,
see the trans
most
people
of them
ripping apart Dawkins.
Exactly right. No, yeah, exactly. So he's human.
I'm a huge Mark Twain fan.
Yeah.
And for his age, he was absolutely an anti-racist human being, and a huge example of what the country could see as someone who had lived amongst what other people had seen as the lessers and had found them to be equal. And he was still a big, huge dickhead. I mean,
okay, well, so divisive question, because this is mostly the
I pronounce it divisive.
Atheist community.
We're in America. Thank you.
I'm not a part of the atheist community anymore. I would like to be called a Philip.
A Philip?
What the hell does that mean?
It's a screwdriver.
I am tired of hearing people tell me what the atheist community should do or think or believe or act upon.
Oh, so come on. You're going to get that in any demographic.
I am now a
get that from any arsehole in the world.
Well, so here's my question. Since there's still, you can still say, look, so you're out of the community then. Either way, you can still answer and think about this, which is atheists have a tendency to say a couple of things in general, at least the ones that are vocal online, on Twitter, YouTube, all this other stuff, which tend to be the more aggressive ones anyway. But nonetheless, they say a couple of things. Sometimes they'll make an argument that, well, we're smarter, especially if we deconverted ourselves. We're smarter than theists for whatever reason. Yeah. The other one that they tend to argue is that if for no other reason than a familiarity with and some understanding of biases and all this other stuff, that they are less prone to those biases. But in my experience, the more I think about it, I am starting to reach the conclusion that they are more prone to them in some cases. The reason being because they refuse. It's that we want to be right. What Dr. Miller was talking about during the show. We want to be right, and we have this bias towards it. So atheists have a tendency to think they are less biased, so they will end up not examining their own biases as much because they don't want to be found out to be wrong. Hey, Randolph, how is it going? Yeah. We all know you're here, Randolph.
Phoebe's flashing sign.
I was interacting with other people. I have no idea what the sign language means, but it's
Phoebe was flashing gang signs, so we all had to respond.
Yeah.
You see, it's because you threw the tea in the harbour, you Americans, and it's because you decided to become a dominion.
I'm just going to say that I don't know if those are gang signs and leave it right there.
Randolph, you realize, Randolph, you have been in more knife fights than I have.
Yeah, I've got a scar here from getting stabbed by a mugger. Yeah.
You shouldn't take a spoon to those fights.
You've been in more knife fights. I'm just saying.
But I didn't have a spoon. I was less than 12.
Come on, man. I'll give you back your money. Come on, let's forget
the one time that I went after a mugger, I used a Corolla. I drove up on the curb.
I think you win.
And broke up a mugging.
You're just toying with him.
So, and then Randolph didn't tell the second part of the story, which was then he apologized for getting his elbow in the way of the guy's knife.
Yeah.
There's a link below, Jim.
Sorry,
Wanna
I
watch
wasn't worried about the knife fight. What was that?
Nothing.
And Sure made a great point here, by the way. I don't know who said the panel was the most diverse, but there's an experiment. Raise your hand if you're a middle-aged white man.
We're all over the place. Well, Nick,
I'm a white man, but I'm not middle-aged, so.
well, fair enough.
Nick, you brought up
Neither middle-aged nor a man.
Nick, you brought up about the people that, you know, now that they're atheists, that they think that they can't be wrong, they can't be fooled, and that's exactly the example of the bias blind spot. Yeah. It's so tempting once you've deconverted. You say, okay, I was fooled for so long. Now I know the truth. Now there's no way I can be fooled again. And like I say, there's 10,000 other topics that, yes, of course, you can be fooled on because you still have your biases. And I lit upon this in the book because I used two great examples of people that you could hardly dispute their intelligence: Albert Einstein and what's his name, Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, of course, as brilliant as he was, still believed in alchemy and was also a Christian. So it just shows you can be brilliant and still be fooled. And then Einstein, of course, even though he only believed in supposedly Spinoza's God, his greatest example was adding the cosmological constant to his field equations.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah.
Do you find this to be a common attitude? Because I don't.
A common attitude of what?
I do know that there are people who do feel that way, but in my experience in dealing with different atheists over the years, I don't find that to be in the majority. That once they've deconverted, they feel they can't be fooled by anything.
I think they feel less susceptible. I don't think they're. I know
some do.
It's ego. Yeah.
There are some who do have that attitude. I'll agree with that, but I don't think that's common for the majority.
Yeah,
at least that's been my experience. So
you may be a different part of a different community than I.
Well,
Okay.
since I ceased to be a part of a younger, more recently converted population of society, I have found that attitude to be less and less prevalent over the years. At my age, I don't see it at all from anybody my age. Hell, most of us don't make it to this point, apparently.
You know who got Einstein to abandon the cosmological constant, right? It was a Catholic priest. It was a Catholic priest of all people who schooled Einstein on the Big Bang and got him to admit that the cosmological constant was the single biggest mistake
with math, not the Bible.
Now, wasn't Einstein, a lot of his stuff also credit is owed to his wife?
Oh, yes. Yeah, she was a brilliant physicist in her own right, but of course in those days you didn't get the kudos if you're a female, like Madame Curie and about 10 trillion other, like the hidden figures in NASA and just, whatever examples you want. But the reason why I brought up Einstein is because whether it was being influenced by the Catholic priest or whatever, he still decided to insert it simply because he favored a non-expanding universe. He didn't, at that point, he didn't care what the truth was. He just says, I would really like every equation and every observation to come out and show a static universe. And of course, he eventually admitted it as the biggest blunder he had ever made. He realized, I'm not doing science anymore. I'm giving into my biases. So the reason why I use it in my book is because you see so many people say, oh, these believers are so stupid. These people that believe in QAnon, so stupid. They always say stupid or idiotic or ill-informed.
I just don't see that as much as you do.
What was that?
I just don't see that as much as you do, apparently.
Actually,
I envy you. I really do. I envy you. I'm in America, and we see it all too often.
I wouldn't do too much of that if I were you, but I can appreciate your point.
I think Dr. Todd's point here is a very important one, because being fooled is not there's no prerequisite to being stupid to being fooled for something.
Yeah, exactly right.
You can be a Christian for bad reasons, and you can be an atheist for bad reasons.
That's exactly right.
And you can be an agnostic for bad reasons. So I don't see value in picking out a specific group and saying this is a thing that they think. Well,
Would it be possible to think that maybe these people that try to think they're somewhat immune to being fooled again use that as a defense mechanism?
I don't think that's a thing either. I don't feel like anybody feels impervious to stupid just because they've got one thing that they're comfortable with.
No, but I think some people will claim that, I've seen this before, therefore ergo I have some level of experience with the matter, with the subject matter, which gives them a level of expertise, quote unquote.
That's not infallible either, because a different sales tactic could be used to convince the person and fool them again from a different angle, or they could be tired and not as sharp and then miss it and still get fooled by it. All kinds of different possible edge cases could come up.
Well, I think it's a very human thing where people say, "Oh, sure, I make mistakes." They always, they're at least humble enough to say, "Yes, I make mistakes." But when it comes to this thing, when it comes to this political thing, when it comes to this scientific thing, I know I'm right. There's no way I could be fooled by this. And that's my point, is that, again, at some point you think that you're educated enough, you've had enough experience, you've seen enough things, and I put a quote in the book, I can't remember if it's by Voltaire or not, it says, "Uncertainty is an uncomfortable position, but certainty is an absurd one." But unfortunately, everybody wants to be certain. Again, it's what Neil was saying before, this need to believe. They need to believe that they're real, they're true about something.
Why I did not do well in philosophy.
So
I never took it.
You might appreciate this, Dr. Todd.
Better off for it.
As young as they were, I've taught my kids to embrace doubt and to take solace in admitting to themselves, most importantly, first and foremost, if they don't know something, and see that as an opportunity to learn something new. And quite a few people told me that that'll result in them not having self-confidence. I found the complete opposite to be the case.
And I'm glad. As I mentioned in the interview with Neil, I think that if our society got to the point where people were lauded when they say, "I don't know," it'd be amazing. Just the fact that, okay, you were honest enough, you weren't making up BS just to look good or to be part of the conversation. You said, "I don't know, maybe I need to look into this more." I think they should be lauded and say, "Thank you for not creating bullshit."
I feel like it's the stupids that are going to kill us, and this is one of the reasons why. They drag down the discourse even among the people that can talk about the thing that's the fucking subject matter. Why are we going to a lowest common denominator while we're talking about this thing? Well, it's because that's who this appeals to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the entertaining thing. I mean, people love confrontation. They love debates. Again, it's entertaining.
It's as if entertainment is the function of the thing.
Exactly right. But, they want entertainment. They don't want necessarily to learn anything. And they don't want to listen. And that's the problem in our culture. We've developed. I mean, it's not even in modern culture. Even you can look back in history, and even Socrates was arguing with people, with Euthyphro and Crito and Apology, that he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe these people I have to deal with. They just believe in their gods. They just believe in what they think is right, and nobody asks questions at all." And he's like aghast. He's like, "I can't believe that I have to deal with this." And it's not getting better, and I feel that frustration. I've seen it, generation after generation. Whatever administration's in power, it doesn't make any difference which administration it is. People are people, and they don't always want to make progress. They just want to hear themselves or make them. In fact, I have a quote in the book that says, "People don't necessarily want to believe what's true. They just want to have what they already believe be proved as true," which is very different. They have a deep-seated need to be right. It gets them into trouble.
It reminds me an awful lot of what I used to do when I was a white nationalist. I wasn't interested in the truth. I was just interested in spouting horse manure. And one of the things that I do notice about being a member of what we call the formers community, so former extremists, is that we are some of the most astutely aware people I've ever met that know that we have the power to go back to what we were doing, in that and that we still can fall back into those biases and fall back into that nonsense land, no matter how much we try and do it. Every day I know that I could go back to doing all that rubbish that I was doing, and I know every day I have to fight it, because I know what my biases are. But that doesn't mean I'm not immune from them, like you're saying.
Just because you can beat your chest and say I'm above it doesn't mean you actually fucking are.
If I can ask you a question, Phoebe, can you tell me what it was about being the extremist that appealed to you? Was it the sense of camaraderie? Was it the sense of being right? What was it that fueled your passion?
I've got whole podcasts on that one question. But the number one thing was
15 seconds.
I was looking for somebody to listen to me.
Okay.
And I wanted someone to listen to me. Because throughout my whole life growing up, at school, at home, at university, I'd been ignored. And I'd never had that love that I got from the group of people that said, yes, we'll listen to you, yes, we'll welcome you, and yes, we'll be friends with you.
Well, did you want them to listen to something specific or about your white supremacist ideology?
I went there looking to find a group of people who thought like me. And it started out as a social group. And they realised that I was good at speaking, so they said, well, speak to these people. And they realised that I was really good at speaking, so more people said, and then my ego got larger and larger and larger, and my standing grew and grew and grew, and I became a propagandist. Proper, full-on propagandist for the English Defence League.
So, I mean, I guess what that kind of means is that regardless of what your position was, you wanted to identify, you even said, I wanted to find like-minded people. Yeah. And that's what I find even with atheist and free-thinking groups is, of course, says, well, we're not accepted by the the current religious community, so we have to find our own. And of course, I applaud that, but sometimes I wonder if they're just finding a new echo chamber, just kind of like you were finding an echo chamber. Says, I want people to listen to me and echo it back. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's 100% true. It reminds me of a Twitter interaction I had today. This person who clearly has not stepped out of their echo chamber before, I thought was stepping out of their echo chamber and was talking to me. And then it got to something that they were uncomfortable with, so they just ran back to their echo chamber. Mm-hmm. And it was like symptomatic of what a lot of people are doing, symptomatic of what I used to do, symptomatic of what a lot of politics is. People aren't interested in hearing other people's existence. People aren't interested in hearing other people are on this planet. They're only interested in hearing what they believe and reinforcing what they believe most of the time. And it's really, really, really sad, in my opinion.
I think it's a testimony to Neil that I have met 3 of you. I am friends with at least 2 of you. Phoebe, I'm going to leave that as an open invitation to be my friend. If you'd like to make me brownies or
next time I'm in the Big D, I'll shoot you some brownies.
Hey, I'm all about the Big D.
But I did kind of.
Alrighty then.
I did kind of want to comment.
Speak your piece.
I did want to kind of comment about the whole bias thing, and because I had an experience in my second year of med school that just kind of showed me a little bit of kind of, even in medicine and medical education, we're kind of missing a skeptical angle a lot of the time because we end up going back to like these availability heuristics and just going off of patterns, which we're taught in medical school. Like the whole process of medical school is to try to get you to not only use patterns anymore because your intuition is usually wrong and you fall into patterns that you shouldn't always go back to because things overlap all the time. But we had to do a case study as a group, and normally we do them on our own, but for once they said you're going to do this as a group, and it was kind of a nightmare. But you get like 5 or 6 medical students all arguing about this case, and it was like a pediatric, like I think it was just a limp, but they had no pain, and so it was a really weird case to go through. And like with all of the evidence we had, a lot of it was like it just seemed very minor. And so my classmates were all saying, oh yeah, it's just a muscle spasm. Like it's a muscle spasm, send him home, it'll be okay. And then, but there was something that stood out to me in the case. I was like, this very specific neurological finding would not be consistent with anything that we're saying about a muscle spasm. And the rest of my group, I brought this up, and they all said, well, it's probably just like something small, like whatever, it doesn't mean anything. I was like, no, but this is very inconsistent with everything else. So why don't we look further and see what this could possibly be? And they were just so ready to write this up as a muscle spasm. And I spent 6 hours looking like through these kinds of cases, thinking, what does this sign mean? What does this mean for this case? And then I came up with, like I found there's a hereditary, oh, it's not hereditary, but it's like a congenital condition of avascular necrosis of the femur that you get in children. And it's rare, but you get it. It's seen. And I was like, this sounds odd. Like, I don't know if I want to go this route, but every piece of evidence that I have is pointing in this direction. So I start writing up the case presentation to say that. And then one of my classmates said, hold up, somebody put avascular necrosis as our primary differential. Like, who did this? I was like, it was me. And I can tell you why. Like, here's why. Everything lines up. It is consistent. And the only reason they didn't want to follow that line of thinking was because it was rare. I was like, but everything else makes sense. And so they were just ready to jump into this pattern because that's what you are more likely to think. And they weren't ready to accept the evidence for what it was.
I will tell you that there are two reasons that they refused to listen to what you had to say. And the second one is that none of them have back pain that would explain why what they're trying to describe doesn't happen without pain. And so the symptoms don't match the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can also tell you, I can tell you something else about all these other medical students in your class, and that is that they all have human brains.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go with the most, and most people want to go with the most expedient thing, the thing that's going to take the least time. They toe the line. They don't want to be the one who ruffles the feathers. As Phoebe was indicating, keep it going. Keep thinking the way you do. Keep questioning, even if it takes 6 hours, but you might be the one that cracks the case, whereas everyone else writes it off.
I mean, I got into this to do puzzles. So, like, I'm just here to, like, have fun with puzzles. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the right field.
You're the next house. You're going to be the one who.
I say what Ben says about puzzles is why I got into social work. It's why it's one of the reasons why I love social work, because people are puzzles, and I love working with puzzling people every day.
Yeah.
Stay away from the pills and don't read any fucking Sherlock Holmes.
I'm sorry, but I currently cannot stay away from the pills I'm taking.
Your anticoagulants.
That's correct.
Yeah, please take those.
I'm on.
Please continue taking those anticoagulants.
I'm on 8 pills from a doctor. I'm on 12 total.
Yeah, please keep
It explains a
taking
lot.
Is it possible, going back to the political side of things here, is it possible that maybe the system itself, the way it's set up, I mean, parliamentarian politics is set up very adversary, and so is the Congress in the U.S., that speaks to very tribal instincts in people.
Yes.
It's a bit like doing sports, right? It doesn't matter which team, you're rooting for your team no matter how good or bad they are. And maybe that's the reason why it's so hard to reach out to people and get them to open their mind to other possibilities, because, you know, it's a very primal instinct, and maybe our entire system needs to be reviewed because of that.
Yeah, but what happens when you find out this system is bad? I mean, I agree with you that just having, in America, the two-party system, basically. I don't know about Canada or in England.
Oh, don't go there with the UK. Oh.
Yeah, but you're exactly right, Kevin. It's like people want to congregate. They say, "Ooh, I like these people because they speak my language." Yeah, that's how. Well, I'm not gonna go into specific political people, but they find I really like the way that this person talks to me. They seem to be saying what I like to say, and that's what politics becomes: is who is in the majority, who is in control of the parliament or the Congress, who can get things done and who can block whom. And, you know, people talk about democracy being a wonderful form of government. I think the word democracy is based on the Greek word demos, which some people say is the people. Some people have argued that it means the mob.
Group.
And of course, you know, if the mob is the one in power, It doesn't make any difference if they're using reason. It doesn't make any difference if they're doing it for the
taught that
common
the
good.
mob was
It
a
may
group.
still get done.
If the mob is a group, then the emotion of what you're expressing kind of goes away. It's
then maybe
a group of people that said that, not a mob of people that said that.
So if we're going to say that as a species, we're a social species by nature, therefore this individual approach that we have to going person to person may be flawed to begin with. Maybe this is a dead end for us. Maybe we just as an individual cannot really understand, and we get overrun by this tribal instinct. Maybe it's just not possible for us to even go down that road.
Well, that's why we were founded as a republic. So even though we say we're a democracy, we're actually, or you could say democratic republic, but if you do the Pledge of Allegiance, it's to the republic for which the flag stands. We are a republic.
I feel like indifference is just endless. There is no boundary to the amount of what could be just apathy. So a commitment to a thing, not really so much in issues unless somebody's driving that issue to be important to somebody. If once an issue has been let go by whatever source that's feeding the mindless, then that thing just goes away. I mean, it's not like anybody's worried about
feeding the mindless.
It's not like anybody is concerned about acid rain anymore. We all have
a problem.
We all have a coating on our cars that does nothing but account for the fact that we have just settled on the fact that we'll accept this amount of acid rain. And nobody has said shit about that for 25 years.
It's like no one said anything about CFCs, but we've got rid of CFCs.
All right, well, I got to go, guys, but thank you very much for having me on. Good to see all of you.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Big love to you, Nick.
Kevin, bring up a good point because you say, okay, we're a social species. We've come up with these parliaments and these congresses to try to get things done. And does it actually make sense? And that it's kind of what gives me pause, because what you tend to see when you recognize that the human brain comes up with these fallacies and biases, you start to realize, as lofty as we like to think of ourselves, we're still just kind of glorified chimps. And that we're at a moment's notice, we will storm a capital, or we'll attack another country, or we'll marginalize a minority
as a species, but not as groups.
Well, I mean, no, but the thing is, I mean, like I say, there's just so much craziness that humanity comes up with, and of course, people like to build themselves up, saying, "Well, look at the incredible music we come up with, and the art, and the science, and the medicine, which is laudable." But again, we have the torture and I think that humanity is probably the only species known to take pleasure in torture. I mean, I think chimpanzees, as violent as they can be, don't necessarily torture. You can say orcas toss their victims up in the air before they eat them, kind of thing. But I don't think that they necessarily prolong agony just for the sake of agony the way humans do. And that's what gives me pause is this dark aspect of humanity that's probably within me as well. And if I have enough biases, if I have enough biases that are confirmed by the goings on, who knows if I'm not the next, Der Fuhrer that decides to do the final solution just because it's expedient, I'm successful with it, and it makes me feel good. It gives me pause, but I think it's a good point that you bring up that, how do you manage this?
It's just very interesting because now we've come all the way back around to, our bias. Off the bat, we have a tendency to have a bias to think of ourselves as much bigger than we actually are. I mean, when you understand the human animal, you realize that sometimes the solution to a lot of the problems are much more simpler than we actually look out to be, right? I mean, we're thinking about how to convince people. Maybe the solutions need to be actually simpler instead of actually more complicated.
Can
Trying to deal with
an example?
Sorry?
Can you give an example?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It's just something that came off the top of my mind, right? I mean,
yeah. I'm sorry. I can't either, but that seemed like such a ubiquitous thing that
legislation should be simpler, not more complicated.
Well,
And,
how do you make legislation
sunlight
simple?
should be pure and not filtered by clouds.
Todd, you did say something there. You said humans are the only species that enjoy torturing things. What about a cat playing with a mouse before killing it?
That's why I'm not. And anytime somebody uses words like only to describe behavior, they're already wrong.
I don't think the cat actually is purposely trying to torture the mouse. The cat
disagree.
It's kind of triggered out the mouse's movements, but to actually think the mouse as a play.
I don't think that the thing that drives a cat to continue to fuck with a mouse is any different than the thing that makes somebody who's torturing somebody for the joy of it to continue to fuck with that person. I don't think that's different.
I use the example of the orca tossing like a seal into the air. But they might be doing that to teach their calf how to hunt or how strong they can be. Maybe the calf is using the mice for something constructive. But what I tend to find out with what I've seen through reading history and through research is that when people do torture, it's rarely something productive or to teach somebody else how to do it. Sometimes they do it just for their own pleasure. Mm-hmm. And that's something it's hard. It'd be hard to gauge the cat's pleasure or the orca's pleasure. You have to hook up leads to them and see if they're getting.
Is it though they're playing with their food? We can see people play with food. We understand the concept of playing with your food.
Yeah, playing with your food. Prolonged. Delayed gratification. Who knows if it's delayed gratification?
I'm assuming it's
but
prolonged.
I don't think torture tends. I mean, there's different ways to torture. When you burn somebody alive, like during the 1910s when the blacks were being lynched and burnt alive, and they took pictures of it with everybody smiling. And it's like, I mean, you're not learning anything from this except maybe you think you're teaching the blacks, hey, don't rise up again. But the people just seem to be taking a delight in seeing this abject agony of this person. And I try to put myself in that black person's place as they're being burnt alive, looking at this humanity smiling at their demise, going like, what is this filthy species that came up with this? And that's why I keep going back to the fact that the human brain is not perfect. It's got many strings.
I don't see how
it can be turned bad very easily. What are you saying, Artemis?
I don't think anybody could possibly claim that anything is perfect, let alone any human brain.
Oh yeah, but most people like to again they say they can't be wrong. They're basically in essence saying my brain is perfect.
I don't think what you've just said is true. I don't think most people say they can't be wrong.
Okay, well then you've met different people than I have.
There are things that I know that I can't be wrong about, but it's a very short list. It's less than 5.
Yeah,
and to say that there are people that. What's the speed limit of the street right there? And for somebody to say, I can't be wrong, it's 45. I just don't think that's a thing.
No, I don't think Dr. Miller means that either. I think he means something like, for example, vax conspiracy theory. There's a lot of people that they're anti-vax, they're absolutely certain of their position. And, even though the science demonstrates everything, it's not mundane things.
But we're still not talking about a huge percentage of the population.
Well, it's 30%.
And we're talking about specific contexts where I can't be convinced that the Earth isn't a sphere. Does that make me part of this sample that we're talking about?
No, again, what I had gone through with Neil during the interview was that most people, I would say even most, are humble enough to say, yes, I can be wrong, and I have been wrong in the past. What the problem is, then they tend to switch off, and when it comes to how they vote or how they choose to do something, then they tend to say, well, on this different thing that I haven't been wrong on before, I'm probably right, and I'm not going to question myself.
Wait a minute, Hank, you went from opinion to right and wrong. How are those things correlated in your head?
Opinion and right and wrong? I think it's
you went from they had an opinion, and then they decided to vote right or wrong, is what you kind of just did to me. And
most people are going to vote on their opinion.
Most people are
going to vote on their opinion, right?
Go ahead, Neil.
I have to. A real quick question for Dr. Miller. Nick, who was in here with us earlier, would like to get your contact information. So
Absolutely.
I will post him a link to your Facebook page, and then he'll probably send you a message through Facebook or whatever, if that's okay with you.
You can do the same thing
Absolutely.
for you as well.
Okay.
In fact, everyone here is free to contact me. I'm more than happy to continue discourse after this.
What I would say,
my,
though,
my
is-
point, my only point was that you went from
Duke, better. I love you.
people having opinions to matter of factly saying one is right or wrong, and that's a huge fucking shift in my head. I don't know what happened for everybody else, but I had a little bit of brain fall out of my left ear.
Well, when you say that right or wrong, are you saying right or wrong morally, or right or wrong in correctness or truth?
It's what you said. Not I'm repeating what you said. I didn't make that decision.
Well, opinion can be about what's morally right or wrong.
Sure, it can be, but you exclaimed it as though it absolutely was, and that's why I jumped in and had a problem with it.
I don't know if I misspoke myself. I may have.
In fact,
but
what I would say on a related issue to this is those maps behind you. Maps are the biggest bias that we are taught in school.
Yeah.
Are you a member? This is going to be a very geeky joke. Are you a member of Cartographers for Social Equality?
No, but I have heard of it. And was that part of the West Wing
It
episode?
was a West Wing episode.
Yeah,
whole
that's
episode
where I learned about this.
Where they have a Mercator map,
Yep.
a Peters projection map, and an invert map. The only
Which is
reason it's
exactly
called
why
an
I got this.
the only reason it's called an invert map is because we're used to having north on the top.
Mm-hmm.
And the bias says you have north on the top, and I can't remember how the episode goes. The episode says that you have north on the top, so therefore you adopt attitudes towards the countries that are on the top and on the bottom. So if you then flip that, you're then more likely to adopt top and bottom attitude for those countries that are now on the top.
Exactly right.
Now on the bottom.
Exactly
and
right.
That's what I was staring at. And
that's exactly why this is. That's why this is in my man cave, is because I have to keep reminding myself that, again, I'm used to the Mercator projection. That's what I learned.
You've got a
on.
Peters projection, which actually shows the correct size of Africa.
And there's no reason they don't go this way. Why are they this way?
Exactly right.
Precisely.
When I got this map, I got a video with it, and it showed that every single two-dimensional projection of a three-dimensional sphere has to be distorted somehow. And like Phoebe is referring to, sometimes it's distorting the size of the landmass, sometimes it's the population, sometimes it's where it is on the map, but it's always distorting or biasing something. And again, since everyone's so familiar with the Mercator projection, they don't know about the Peters and all these other kind of things. That's why I like to have this in here as a backdrop and to remind myself that at a moment's notice, I'm ready to be biased. This is called the What's Up South map. What's up South? Well, yeah, that's weird. No, north is up. North. No. It like you say, like Artemis is saying, it's totally arbitrary. It's just whatever we decide is the current standard.
It's why the flat earthers are
far too long.
And
there is no up in space.
And the reason that a Mercator map is the way it is because 16th century explorers wanted to be able to go in a straight line.
Exactly.
So a 16th century explorer is going to expand the top so that it's a straight line from Cornwall to New England or Portugal to Brazil. And that's why it's so distorted. And we've been using these colonial maps, which are Mercator projections, which have Greenland and Africa about the same size, when Africa is 17 times larger than Greenland.
That's exactly right. But of course, white America and white Europe probably doesn't want to think that way. They'd say, hey, if they're so small, they must be easily subjected. They're not as important as us. And then, there's another question.
That's why the scramble for Africa was
when I was a kid, I watched on film, because that's how fucking old I am, a movie where they had a globe that was a clear globe, and every landmass was black, and they had a sheet of paper on a wall, and they said, okay, this is how we do this kind of map. We roll the globe across this sheet of paper, and that's how we get this kind of map. And if we do this, where we cut it into a bunch of pieces and kind of fold it over, and we draw on it what comes from the globe, and that's how we get this kind of map. Did anybody else see that fucking movie?
No, I'm not.
It sounds
7,000
familiar.
years old.
It was just such an obvious education as to how maps are distorted and why Greenland is this fucking big.
Neil, there's a gorilla in the room.
There is. He's very quiet though.
Who's the gorilla? Hello, gorilla.
Hello. I've been listening, and I just thought one point that about the political stuff was that humans behaviorally are not homogenous, and political tribes differ in very substantial ways, particularly with respect to their openness to new experiences, because fear is a very primal motivator. So what you typically find is you have groups that are socially conservative because they are driven to a greater degree by their fears because their score on openness to new experiences are relatively low. And that's actually geographical as well. You find pockets of populations that historically have very low openness and are very insular. And then you have a nomadic population that are very open to new experiences, and they tend not to stay in any given geographical area for more than a generation or two. And that's part of the explanatory factor that we see between conservative thinking and progressive thinking, because when you actually look at them, neuropsychologically, they're not exactly the same creature.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, we're all different. Some are more open and some are more insular. But what is your point? Are you saying that it's always going to be that way? There's no way to get more of a consensus or a dialogue?
Well, I would like to hope that it's not always going to be that way. But part of the problem is that when you look at the big 5 or 6 personality traits, there does seem to be some sort of genetic underpinning to it. And so, we still don't quite fully understand what on a neurological level might be kind of setting that base level of openness to new experience or conscientiousness or some of those big factors. But we may be pushing up against an invisible barrier. We may not be possible of taking certain groups of people and bringing their tolerance for novel stimuli up above a certain threshold unless we do it over generations. And then that's the other problem is you tend to have people who, tend to score very low for openness to new experiences, partly because maybe that's the way their brain is structured, partly because the way it's reinforced with their experiences over a lifetime. And then they meet people who are similar because they stay together in similar geographical areas. You look at the percentage of Americans that have never left the country. And then they tend to produce other children who may be biologically predisposed to this. And then it's reinforced through their experiences, through their upbringing, because that's the way their parents were. So we may have a much bigger task ahead of ourselves if we want to try to create a world where everybody is like less fearful of the other. They're less fearful from the unknown. Like they don't encounter new people who don't sound like us, look like us, smell like us, eat like us, behave like us, and therefore instantly become, trepidatious about, oh my God, these people aren't like me. We need to attack them. And then I have some other thoughts about your stuff on torture, because that is a very interesting human behavior, and there seems to be a fundamental commonality to what humans will do when they dehumanize other people under those kinds of conditions. But I'll stop.
Well, I totally agree to you. There's more insular people, and of course, people want to keep their kids in religious schools and in religious enclaves so that they, the Amish, and to get from contamination from the outside world. The good news is, I think that the internet is kind of spelling the end of this, or whatever follows, because everybody is starting to get access, even in remote jungles in Africa where they can use satellites to get the internet. For the first time, these very insular communities are finding out, oh my God, there's so much more out there, and there's people that think differently. Now, you mentioned that there might be like some kind of barrier that cannot be passed, that somehow the human animal is just incapable as an entire species of coming together as one. I'm not saying that we can come together as one. What I am saying that is with common communication and with people being able to talk just like we are here on the internet, or just having more access to different ideas and having access to the idea of critical thinking, then they can start questioning these things that keep them insular. They say, I'm so comfortable in my island here with my community, but there's these other people out there that they seem to be very happy and successful, and they have some intriguing notions. But then you have the dichotomy between wanting to stay with your family and your community, and then these other people that might have other ideas of yours. So it's not going to happen overnight, but just in my lifetime, and again, I'm only 58, I would have never thought that Christianity would decrease by droves and how it has. I thought that was so insular, that was so common, it could never happen. And even in just the last 15 or 20 years, the numbers are dropping precipitously. And hopefully the same thing will happen with the other major mono and polytheisms. But I don't know what you have about that.
I wish I could believe that the internet was going to provide the solution to this,
or its follower, whatever it is. I mean, we were just meeting, but I started this 20 plus years ago in grad school. My field is actually the construction of communities and young adults and the formation of identity as a response to that. And I spent 3 years on the internet looking at the formation of communities and the true way it was transforming the way that we constructed group associations. And I was here when YouTube was born and Twitter and all that stuff. And after 3 years, realized that this is just humans doing what humans have always done. We're just using new technology to come together to share that which we create and then argue about it. And so as well as I like to think it's going to expose people to all sorts of new ideas and enlighten them, it doesn't seem to be 20 years down the road doing quite what I was really hoping it to do. I did get a TEDx talk out of it, but I still wait for that trigger point. I've become a bit of a misanthrope since grad school because I still haven't seen that linchpin, which is why I typically sit on the internet just quietly listening and making notes, and rarely do I jump in and talk about this stuff because I'm not supposed to put my finger on the scale and start tipping these things. But I want to believe. I want to believe that by giving people access to the plethora of information that exists, that we're going to kind of suddenly ignite these fires of critical thinking in the masses. I haven't seen it in 2 or 3 decades, but I'm still hopeful. Me too.
Real quick here, I got other folks that want to rotate in and out. So
please, yes.
Is there anyone who's willing to sort of sit on the sideline so I can bring in a couple more folks?
Yes.
Currently.
Yeah, I'll drop down for a bit if you need to.
Yeah, I'll bow out as well. Sabrina, I'll bow out, and thanks for the chat, guys. Much appreciated.
Somebody mentioned on the blog, I just saw it flash by, it says, I love listening to QG talk, and so do I. I love the way he's talking and thinking too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. And I get you because I'm in my 50s too. I've been watching for half a century, and you know, I love working with young adults. I love being able to teach this stuff and enlighten people, but I haven't seen it yet, and I'm waiting for that moment where all of a sudden I can point to it and go, there, that's the beginning. We're gonna sit back and watch it happen. But
it's going to be like evolution. It's going to be a slow, gradual thing. You'll never be able to say this is where the big moment happened. Yeah. But hello, Josh. Hello, Captain Deadpool. Thank you.
Captain Deadpool.
Hey, it's Captain Deadpool. And it's a Josh.
And Randolph.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear us, though? That's the real question.
I can.
Do you want to hear us is the other question.
Does this mean Captain Deadpool is here for dad jokes?
Hey, you need to invite
That's
Captain
exactly
Deadpool
what
to
this
D&D and Dads.
I do occasionally stream on Twitch Dungeons and Dragons, but it's all dads.
Okay.
My favorite word is hyperbole. I use it like 1,000,000 times a day.
I'll stop being hyperbolic, Hugh.
You brought this up because of the interview. So what's your example of hyperbole?
He just did.
He just
The
did
joke
it.
I just told.
Oh, okay.
Saying that he uses 1,000,000 times a day, that's a hyperbole.
Okay, gotcha.
Boom.
I told him to stop being hyperbolic.
Oh, now who left?
IQ.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to start talking about math if you keep talking about things being hyperbolic.
Someone didn't like my joke.
Hyperbolic, not parabolic.
It's not for everyone.
Didn't catch on to it fast enough.
I just noticed Artie left too. What the hell's going on? Artie didn't have to leave.
It's probably my breath.
Well, Sabrina and Artie both
Neil, you tell people rotate out, and you're going to have more rotating out because they'll take it as a cue. We can leave Neil now. We've done our little bit of, Canadian service.
Maybe.
I'm still waiting for the round the horn that Neil threatened us with.
Yeah. I want to hear this round.
I know. It's gonna happen. I actually have to make a quick phone call, so I'm gonna bow out for a few minutes, and when I come back, we'll do the round the horn.
Well, at least let me.
Anybody else feel like he was about to say I have to pee, not I have to make a phone call?
I'll man the fort. It's okay.
No. My sister has texted me. I have to give her a call because we have to discuss something that's going on with my mom tomorrow. So
Yeah.
There you
it'll only take me about 10 minutes or so. So
Lack of God bless.
I posted in the chat the equation for a hyperbolic paraboloid. So there you
geez.
go.
Hyperbolic Polaroid? What?
Hyperbolic paraboloid.
Somebody throw it up on the screen. I'm not on the YouTubes or the Twitch.
How about that?
Thank you.
That just sounds like a four-dimensional object.
A times 2 plus by2. Z equals A times 2 plus by2.
Yeah, I could throw numbers up there and look smart too,
It's pronounced Z. It's pronounced Z.
I literally Googled
No, it's
it.
pronounced Z.
I was not a math major, but my mother was a math major. So that's how I know that.
My
Being able to
my
come up with this
dad,
shit on the fly is important.
my dad used to move math majors, so I'm pretty qualified myself.
I'd say the reason I know so much about medicine is my mother is a medical marketer, and one of the first drugs that I remember my mother talking about was Viagra, and its wonderful application is a heart drug.
Yep.
Yeah, Viagra's pretty great.
It was antihypertensive.
Yep, antihypertensive, and then
It's a PDE5 inhibitor, so.
And then we accidentally got delivered to our house some blown up photographs of when it all went wrong.
Just get real excited when you take it. That's all. Oh, all right.
Wait, when it went wrong or when it went right?
When there were like side effects from the Viagra when they were doing all the medical marketing for it. So we accidentally got delivered to my mother's home for some reason. These blown up photographs of people's penises that had exploded and stuff because they weren't expecting the...
Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
Randolph, just be the wrangler for a bit here. I'll be right back.
Randolph the Wrangler.
Randolph, we're talking about large blown up pictures of exploding penises. Can you cope with that?
I'm going to need to
I mean, I guess it's just like the slightly more excitable cousin of the unsolicited dick pic. So
Yeah,
this was the early 90s. This was
to see
happening.
this just for my own independent research.
And people wonder why I wonder about the human species.
I don't anymore. I've spent 30 years watching them, and I don't wonder about them at all. We are weird, horny apes.
Weird as the weird.
Yeah, see, I used to...
everybody's throwing their arms up like, oh, yeah, weird. I'm sitting here like, I'm kind of horny.
Back on Google Plus, I ran about 24 troll accounts. A number of them, almost about a little more than half of them were female accounts.
Show the leg.
Female personas. And every female persona received pictures of male genitalia in private messaging. None of the male accounts did.
You weren't supposed to share that. I sent those to you in private.
Which account?
It was a private
Why are you
picture.
blowing my shit up for everyone? That's cool. That's cool. All right.
And now you've told Twitter this. Twitter's now going to permanently ban you for abusing multiple accounts.
Captain Deadpool. How about adding something here? Bring up a salient topic here. You're the newbie. Well, one of the newbies. Josh is the other newbie.
What?
Hey,
Bring up a topic for conversation.
Yeah.
We want
Bring-
salientness.
We've heard what everyone else has to say.
Dusty furniture.
Do we
Neil
want to
called
go
me furniture because I was in his live streams like pretty much solid every single show for almost a year and a half.
I vouch for that.
I've been gone for a few months.
Do
we
want to go
were you auctioned off like an
my
antique?
TikTok account.
It's good to see you back here, IQ.
It's good to be back.
You sound more relaxed.
Did Neil send you off to be refurbished or something like an antique?
It was a self-healing. You go through
kind
a
of like
divorce and have
refurbishment,
part
I
of your
guess.
colon removed at the same time, and then come back to me.
Ooh.
about bouncing back in only 3 months with a smile and a nice little cute honey that lives in Pennsylvania.
I read about this small little section of the world around the Great Lakes that seems to have everybody enticed, like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Indiana. What is it with that little triangle?
I'm just stoked that I was interested in somebody that doesn't live in Canada or fucking the UK. So we're good.
What's wrong with Canada?
All I can say is that
it's just a distance fucking issue. You were like, oh, this person looks great. Let me check them out. And it's like,
you can
there's
drive
an ocean in
anywhere.
the way. And you're like, well, fucking hell.
The majority of
Canada,
the long-term relationships I've been in my life have been with Americans, and I am based in the UK. So I'm used to the distance relationship.
It's so funny.
I live in Ohio, bro. Canada sounds very appealing. That's
my
not what
friend
I'm trying to
studied abroad in Canada.
Yeah.
So I'm in the U.S. My friend studied abroad in Canada, and he had a bunch of fellow study abroad classmates from like somewhere in the EU. I think like either Spain or Portugal or something. And they're all like, "Yeah, let's travel across the country in a weekend." And my friend's like, "No, you can't do that here."
But yeah, you can travel from Land's End to John O'Groats in about 9 hours if you really want to by car.
Listen, you can get anywhere you want in Canada in 12 days in a car.
12 days.
Does that include Northern Nunavut?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, there's not really any good roads. You might have to go over a few provinces to find a road to go up to Nunavut.
Well, what about these ice road truckers then? If you're one of
That's
them,
exactly what I was about to ask.
Yep.
Come on, man. You know where we're going. We don't need roads.
No roads.
I've heard the Yukon is pretty barren.
I usually flew in and out there when I was doing work up there in what I call the flying cigar tube, which was an airplane that was so small in diameter that I had to crouch to get into my seat. It was.
Is it true that
terrible.
in like Nunavut it's like $15 for a cabbage and stuff?
It is. Yeah. Most people
right.
that actually end up living and working up there will come back to the city once a year and order thousands of dollars worth of goods, put it on a pallet, and then ship it up because it's crazy
prohibitive.
Expensive. Yeah. I got stuck in a blizzard on the coast of Labrador for a week, and we consumed every bottle of water plus all the beer that wasn't light beer inside of a week.
See how you ignore the white light beer? It's just not real beer.
What happened to the light beer? What happened to the light beer?
We wouldn't touch it.
It just
no.
left for the other guys.
No, when you're trapped on the coast of Labrador for a week in a blizzard and you can't see like 10 feet in front of you, there are certain limits to what you'll tolerate. And drinking light beer.
Well, the definition of what light beer is really depends on how far away you are from
water.
Arn Ra.
From Arn Ra.
What?
Arn Ra?
No, he drinks the shit that when you take a sip, you have the instinct to chew this beer. It's like
I
a
would
fucking
love to get a beer
milkshake,
with him.
all right? He doesn't fuck around. He's a badass.
Okay, but I would totally get a beer with Arn Ra. Like with I have a biology background. Like I would kill to have a beer with Arn Ra.
Oh, samesies.
Well,
I don't
you're
care
in good
if there's
hands.
dead leaves in it.
Nobody's gonna fuck with you at the bar. I'll tell you that.
I don't care if there's a goldfish that like jumps out with an eye patch. It's like drink up, queer. Like I don't care. I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Dead leaves, goldfish in my beer. I'll do that with Aaron Raw.
I would eat Cheerios again, like multiple times.
You would eat Cheerios.
Don't
Now
eat
that
Cheerios again. Don't eat Cheerios again.
Yeah,
I will eat Cheerios again if I could have a conversation with Arn Ra. Okay, I would do it.
Pretty sure you could write
It's
a
fucking
letter.
Aaron Ra, man. Like, if he passes me a crack pipe, I'm gonna think about it for a second, because this man has really helped me out in my life. I would
You're not
consider
Aaron
it for
Ra.
a second, at least, just because it's Aaron Ra.
Right.
That's all you gotta say.
Right.
Don't say no to
I
this
had a
man.
conversation with Aaron Raw.
Now here's a question:
It's
if you
fairly brief,
if you could
but-
have this conversation, but you had to spend 5 minutes with Boris Johnson afterwards, would you do it?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Because I know how to tune
Prime
people
Minister
out.
of
Like
UK.
I'm a
Yeah,
I'm
I've
a
been ignored
student.
for 5
Like I'm a
minutes.
career student. I know how to
Okay.
tune things out.
10 minutes with Donald Trump.
Sure.
I know how to tune people out. Yeah.
You have to play a
Would I be
round of
allowed to
golf
take-
with Donald Trump.
I have a lot of theories that I need to test with him, so I would certainly do a round of golf with Trump.
That means I'm allowed to bring clubs with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're a caddy.
Can I
You're
claim
his
diplomatic
caddy.
immunity?
I'm
Can I
his
claim
caddy.
diplomatic immunity? No.
These
I don't
rules are
think so.
changing like every 30 seconds. Like,
Of
okay,
course
commit
they're
to one
changing.
rule set.
It's me. Of course they're changing.
Commit to one rule set, and I'll give you an answer.
No, the British do not commit to one rule set. We just invade and tell you different rules at different times that suit us.
I'm just gonna meet up with Phoebe and throw my tea in a lake.
Will there be no witness?
It doesn't matter who they are. They know something you don't. Learn from them. Ooh, that stopped everybody, didn't it?
Yes, it's a learning experience.
I was saying something, and I was paying no attention, and everyone else just was silent. And it's like, what? Why are we silent all of a sudden? I should be silent too.
I'm
As an
Seriously, it's
American,
one of my
if I
philosophical
had
fucking
10
pillars,
minutes
man.
alone with Donald Trump, there would not need to be any words. I don't think I'd need to say a single thing.
Oh,
if
he'll
I-
do all the talking.
if
You
I
don't need
had-
words.
Oh,
Words
no, he
are
wouldn't
like
get
the
to
least
talk
important
much either.
things.
I would
Because he has the
sure-
greatest words.
I would
You
make,
just let him
I
talk,
have
and
the
you
best
start the
word-
recorder in your
I have the
pocket.
best
Like,
words.
Yeah.
I know silence. I've got
I'm
the best
very
silence. I do the
educated.
greatest silence.
Hear
Like,
this one out. It really puts it into perspective. This is a quote by Khalil Gibran. I've learned silence from the talkative, kindness from the unkind, and patience from the impatient. And patience from the impatient. Yet strange, I'm not grateful to these teachers.
Is that an
It's easy when you're
Instagram
a
quote?
spectator.
That should be an Instagram quote.
It's easy
Oh,
when you're a
I've
spectator.
got it on my TikTok.
That's what I was going to say next. Is that a TikTok video or something?
I must not follow you because I don't think I've seen that one.
Josh P 513. I've been working on it for a little while now, and I got the
Here,
fucking
now
fire
here's a
on
serious
that.
question. Here's a serious question. Does anybody know what TikTok actually wants?
Well,
Does anyone
in terms
work
of
that out?
algorithm?
Money.
Yeah, in
It's
terms
a
of the
business.
algorithm.
TikTok wants
It's a
interaction.
business. They want money.
They
But
want
that's not an
interaction.
Started
algorithm.
TikTok.
An algorithm doesn't want money.
Yeah.
People
No,
want
the
money.
algorithm-
The
what
algorithm
is the
doesn't
algorithm
want money.
want?
Markets. In the
Yeah,
stock
what-
markets, the algorithms
Re-
want money.
Real
You're
talk.
applying sentience to a computer program. Come on. It's just
TikTok
it's just an
does not
algorithm.
give.
They
TikTok
put it
does
in
not
place.
give 2 fucks about how many followers you have. They don't
Yep.
care. What TikTok
They don't care.
wants is interaction.
Interaction.
If you are a controversial figure and you have controversial opinions that will cause people to argue in your comments and like or dislike your video, they will reward you. Attention is rewarded with more attention.
Oh man, a good argument in your comment section will send you
Good to know.
straight viral.
Oh yeah. So me as an atheist with a bachelor's degree in biblical theology, when I go on there and I talk about Christianity, I'm like, hey, I'm an atheist, but hey, pastor, you're fucking wrong because here's why. And I get a bunch of arguments in my comments. That's what happens. And that shit gets boosted. That's what they care about. Interaction. That's how they make their money. That's how that shit
I don't
works.
get boosts like that because I'm not controversial. I just roll in and I just explain shit about pain.
And that
and
helps
introspection.
guys like me.
Well, that's why in
Just
the
break shit
interview,
down. I stopped arguing
It's
about
a
God because
circle
I'm
of
just
life.
like it's asinine to me to argue with living people about things that happen after you're dead. I just
Yeah,
stop it right there, and anything else that comes after that is bullshit. Until you can solve that problem, just don't even talk to me about it. So what I'm going to talk about is the
I
shit
would
that's really
wholeheartedly
affecting
agree.
people.
that's why in the interview, that's why I mentioned that's the frustration of whatever genre you're talking about, whether it's TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or talking head shows on TV or radio talk shows. It's all for entertainment. It's all for likes, or like you say, all you have to do is say something controversial. It doesn't have to be true or not. Just does it get the views? Does it get the attention?
That's right.
And again, no progress comes from this. All you get is entertainment and attention. But I say, well, how do you combat that? How do you just go from just spouting whatever you want to get views and to get likes to actually having productive discourse?
I got an answer for that.
Please.
That's why I'm on fucking TikTok in the first place. Or at least what I'm doing, everything that I'm branching out right now. I'm branching back off into YouTube. There's going to be a channel on there. I'm fucking exploding right now because I'm back. and I'm ready to fucking knock some heads in.
Are you saying that you want to change minds?
No, I want to inspire people.
Inspire people.
I can't change anybody's mind. That's their job. I can inspire them to have an epiphany that changes their mind.
Well, that's kind of what I'm doing as well.
I don't target the trolls. I don't target the hate. I don't target the anger. It's what I target is what causes all of that. Behind every rude person, behind every the last time you've been a dick to somebody, I've been a dick to somebody. We all have been a dick at some point. Why were you a dick? You've got a pretty good excuse for it, don't you? You were tired. You were frustrated. You were having an argument that day. Behind every rude comment and every nasty person out there is pain and trauma that's forced them to act like this. It's not your beliefs. It's your fucking behavior. And your behavior is guided by your pain. Your wisdom is guided by your pain. Pain is the most fundamental aspect of everything that is good in this world. If you really think about it, you touch that pain and you kill the troll. Don't punch them in the face.
Sometimes the pain comes from the belief, that whether it's the pain or the belief that informs the action, like you say. That's why in my book you won't find any political stance. You won't find any other stance on an opinion, because again, there's 10 trillion beliefs and opinions that in one lifetime you can't address them all.
There's no magic bullet for stupidity. There's no magic bullet for stupidity. But what you can do is target the people who have been affected and actually touch the problem that's causing them to behave that way, instead of just telling them to stop behaving that way. You're doing nothing. You're putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone.
Well, exactly. I mean,
you need to get in there and you need to figure out what the hell, who hurt you? Who hurt you, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you really touch somebody on a human level. You're talking to a person. Talk to them like you want them to talk to you. And that's all you can do. Aside from that, you can suck my nuts. Get the fuck out of my face. If you can't,
there may be some people you can't help. There may be people that are so damaged or closed off that
I've gotten correspondence from people so far that your videos really helped me. And it's amazing fucking moment when you're just kind of pouring your heart out there and you're just laying shit out like you see it. I'm not combating anybody. I'm not bashing anybody. I got Trump supporters and anti-vaxxers liking my fucking videos. And a lot of them are damn good. Some have like 3,400, something like that, followers now. And it's such a mixed bag of people from all over the place. A ton of people that would normally not be acceptable people in our community. But I don't care about that. If that is beauty is a thing to me. If I can put out a message that is acceptable to my community and an opposing community at the same time, that's real shit. That's a real fucking message, and you are connecting with somebody on a level that scrapes away all that bullshit, all the ists and isms and the fucking tribalism that's just tearing everybody apart. The fucking Democrat, Republican, atheist, Christian, Muslim, day shift, night shift. We draw lines, these arbitrary lines in the sand, fucking everywhere we go. And it's all based in hatred and misunderstanding of people. You understand the person, hatred is not a problem. So I'm trying to get people to understand what it means to be a human being. And I think that's the most fundamental thing that somebody can do to combat the problem, instead of just hiding people and arguing with people. I want to touch people, and I want to get them to realize that you're being an asshole right now, and try to figure it out, man. I'll give you a fucking hug. You want a hug? Like, seriously.
I think this is helpful in, like, we're all on the same planet. I've said numerous times before, and we need to be helping each other instead of pushing against each other and making other people's lives worse. We need to be working together to kind of make sure the future of humankind is better.
Yeah, and
collaboration is kind of why our species is still here.
Yeah.
Like, my content's very non-confrontational in a way, because literally I just sit back and I'm like, here's the science. Like, here's the foundation of how humans work. And sure, like, because a lot of misunderstanding that we have is from people who just don't don't have a background in how humans work at these biological levels. And so my kind of perspective is saying, okay, well, here's how the process works. And now hopefully you should have the thought process now is to be able to understand this is more complicated than I thought it was. And then maybe you need to think about it a little bit more. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm not really arguing with people out there. I mean, occasionally, sure, if I have somebody in my comments that has come recently who is actively denying their kid any health care because they're trans, and of course I'm going to argue with them because that's an immediate thing that I need to work with. But apart from that, it's like, yeah, I mean, here's a foundation. If you want to learn it, cool. Hopefully in learning this information, you're going to think to yourself that maybe there's something more to this than what you've been taught.
Good on you. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, it's like why I do my interviews that I do. It's like, why do I interview trans people on my channel for an hour? That's what my channel mainly is. It's an interview channel. I appeared on Neil's show, and I thought, you know what, I can do this for trans people. And I sit there and I just try to put stories out there, try to humanize people, and just try to have a conversation with somebody. And if it helps make one person more relatable or makes one person go, oh, look, trans people are real people, not all these faceless individuals. That's what I want at the end of the day. That's what I want, is just to try to help humanize everybody and try to get everybody to go, we're all humans, damn it.
I love what you're doing. Thank you, Phoebe. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Ben.
I appreciate what Josh is doing as well.
Nobody should feel like they're not human, like they're not worthy, like they're not a part of the world and society, and like they don't have feelings, because we all do. Every single one of us, I don't care what you believe or what you're into, there's something that tears you down at the end of the day. There's something that makes you can set down your spoon back in the bowl of Cheerios because you got to wipe away some tears sometimes. Life's fucking hard, man. Shit goes bad sometimes. And we all need people in our lives. You can be as strong as you think you are, but the whole point of loneliness, I'm not talking about being alone, loneliness. And every single person that's hearing my fucking voice right now knows exactly what loneliness feels like, because in this day and age, it is rampant because we are not connecting personally as much as you think we are, because I'm talking to people in Australia daily and everywhere in the world, but there's this degree of loneliness because we are not connecting the way that we've been connecting for millennia, which is pretty much in tribes, close-knit communities of people who have certain roles, certain actions, really close camaraderie, and now we sit at home, stare at a screen, and we argue with people because it's easy to hide behind that screen. We lack community. That's why I'm so big on what shit like Neil's doing. Everybody in the ACA, everybody that's out there, Captain Danpool right here, man. He's got some fucking fire TikTok shit. And he always puts out some good shit. And we're bringing people together. We're normalizing just being who we are. And that's where it's fucking at. It's just being human beings. I got me, you got you, and let's not step on each other's fucking toes.
I got you, babe.
I think on that note, we should go around the horn.
I think it's time for that. Because I do eventually have to wrap this up real quick because I got to eat, and my roommate made some pesto chicken, so I'm like,
before we go on, what is that? Is that a stout you're drinking, Ben?
This is a left-hand nitro milk stout, and I have a fancy machine that lets it pour like a draft pour. So,
nice.
It's called. I go to that school.
It's called the physics. What is it called? It's by the brand Physics, and they have a machine that takes like sound waves and like makes the bubbles really small. It's really good for nitro beers. It's okay for other beers, but like the best for nitro beers. But I mean, I recommend it. It's nice.
Okay, where did you get that? Was that like on
I got
Amazon?
It online.
Okay, online.
Yeah, I think it's
Great.
on Amazon,
What the fuck does that mean?
and you can get it from Physics as
here.
well.
Like Amazon kind of thing, or?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, and then I'll put it in the.
How do you spell physics? Is it Fizz?
It definitely starts with an F.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Physics. That's clever.
F-I-Z-Z-I-Z-Z-I-C-S.
Yeah, it's like the regular size. You can put any size bottle or can into the machine and it'll pour it like a draft pour. Or you can get the bigger size that'll fit a growler. But I just got the regular sized one. It's like 125, something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
You're still
I was gonna say, if you've got like a ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, you could probably modify that thing to have the same effect.
Probably.
But anyway, you need to go around the horn.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Phoebe.
She's taking over the.
All right. So tonight's round the horn question: if you could travel back in time, would you change anything about your life? What would it be and why?
Ooh.
I love this question.
Oh, this can get dark.
Go to Ben. Go to Ben.
Oh my god.
Well, I usually go sort of
We gotta go around.
in order. So,
Well, I have to think about it.
Okay, well then I can start with Ollie.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you.
Oh, you're going to start with me. All right. When I was in the 4th grade, I was in a Jack and the Beanstalk play, and I was playing the Giant. And in the afternoon edition, they had given me a wooden baseball bat, which at one point in time I was directed to slam it on the stage. In the evening edition, when I was actually in front of the crowd, they substituted my wooden bat with a plastic bat because I had left a little dent in the stage. And when I slammed said bat down into the stage, it promptly bent in half. And I near fell and my wig fell off, causing a hell of an uproar through the entire audience. I might go back and change that particular thing where I would not slam that bat quite as hard into that stage.
Yes, but that added quite a fun element to the play.
It did. It basically woke everybody up because it was, like I said, it was a bunch of 4th graders. So you can imagine what the play was going like up until then.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Well, and we'll go to Phoebe next. What do you got, Phoebe?
If I could go back in time, so much I would change.
What do you think?
I would want to change my own birth. I'd want to change things about my own birth, but I can't do that for the purposes of this question. Or can I? As a trans woman,
let's
I
see
would
if you
want
could.
to. I would want.
We already
to,
got time travel. I mean, why not?
If I was to go back in time, I'd change. I'd go back in time. I'm a trans woman. I would go back and I would not be a trans woman. I would just be a cis woman because it would make my life so much simpler.
All right.
So that's what I would change.
Cheers on that one.
For sure. All right. What about you, Ben?
Oh, we're going to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be one answer is to make myself a cis man. But I'll kind of take this different angle with this in that. So I started off in theater before I went to medicine. I would have gone back and I would have started off in biology, set my course for medicine, because I would already be a doctor by now had I made my decision earlier. But I took a less traditional route, and now I'm delayed a little bit. So I think that's what I would do.
All right. That's fair. Sounds good. What about you, Randolph?
Oh, there's so many things, but the most obvious one to me would be, and not that I'm not really dissatisfied with my life, but there's some things I probably would have done better. I'd certainly go back and convince myself to ignore the malicious software warnings and start mining Bitcoin at the very early time, because that was the mistake I made. And it's not really a mistake because the security software said it's malicious software, so I didn't do Bitcoin mining. This is before it was worth anything.
Okay. Right.
Because had I done that, I have one site where the client had over 30 computers and let me run software for doing computational stuff for SETI at home after hours, whatever I wanted to do on their computers. And I would have been mining the heck out of it. I'd probably be a multi-billionaire because of it. Boy, I'd be able to help so many people with all that money.
Yeah, that's for sure. Interesting. All right. What about you, Gorilla?
First, I want to let Randolph know that I have Bitcoin.
Oh, congratulations.
I have 0.00001827 or 1287 of a Bitcoin. And I don't remember which
I
wallet
have
So
one
$4.3 million.
whole Bitcoin.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I
I think it's
have
about
one
20
Bitcoin.
bucks. I also like to believe that at some point in life, most people will probably have spent time pondering this question, because I have at multiple points. And I keep coming to the conclusion that I wouldn't go back and change anything, because the person who I am today is the sum total of all the experiences that I've had, including ones that I might think were terrible in the moment. But I grew as a person. And I don't know how, by changing one thing, it might create an entire new course of events, which maybe my life would be better today, but it could also be worse. And I'm not so unhappy with my life today that I would want to go back and change anything. Because
now that would apply to longer term, but I mean, like, very short term change. Like, you could even go back 2 days and prevent yourself from banging your knee on a table. That would probably be okay.
All the nopes. All the nopes.
I don't know. Banging my knee on that table might have meant that I was 5 minutes late to get to my office, which means I didn't answer the phone, which means, like, no, my life is not so bad right now that I would feel necessary to change anything. And as I said, I've gone back to that question probably since I was in my 20s. And, you know, yeah, like any human being, my life has had its ups and downs, but I'm not so unhappy with where I am today at this point that I would want to potentially screw it all up by trying to change one thing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's my answer, but I might have a slightly more poetic take on it.
Okay, Josh, all yours.
Well, no, we got Deadpool. He's next up in the line. I'm not cutting.
No, fuck me. We can go straight to you. It's cool. Don't worry
Get
about
yours in.
Oh, come on.
Questions don't get to skip participants.
That's right.
One thing if I could change one thing in my life, it would be not punching one of my superiors in the face when I had the chance.
That's solid.
And
There's a
did
whole
that lead
story-
to some bad shit, or?
I'll try to make this as short as I can. But when I was in active duty Army infantryman deployed to Iraq, I was a fuzzy E nothing. And there was a guy who was an E3 who thought he was hot fucking shit, and he was gunning for a team leader slot by like throwing everyone who he could under the bus. So we go to chow, and we have our weapons. You have to keep your weapons on you at all time, unless you have somebody guarding your weapon for you. So when you go to get a chow, you can give your weapon and put it like at their feet, like, hey, can you watch this while I go through the line and get my food? Cool. So I did that. I was like, hey, can you watch my weapon? He gave me like a little nod. Cool. I went and got my food, and I got back, and my weapon was gone. And his name was Lang. I was like, Lang, where the fuck did my weapon go? And he was like, you left your weapon unsecured. And I was like, no, the fuck I didn't. You told me you would watch it while I got my food. And he said, no, I didn't. I was like, you fucking did. So what he did is he gave my weapon to his team leader and told his team leader that I had left it unsecured. So he took my weapon back to my platoon sergeant, and then I was told I had to go to my platoon sergeant and figure out where the fuck my weapon was. So I went there, and he was like, yeah, you left your weapon unsecure. So I gave it to this guy, and I went to that person. He was like, I gave it to this guy because you left what? And they gave me this like wild goose chase. I went to like the fucking lieutenant, and I was like, hey, sir, I know we're playing fuck games right now, but I'm with you at the moment. I'm just trying to find my weapon. He was like, you're supposed to leave your weapon at arm's reach at all times. I was like, yeah, I know that. I know. He told me he would watch my weapon while I got chow, but whatever. It doesn't fucking matter at this point. I just want to get my weapon. Anyway, I went through several different people, and I got back to him, Lang. And I was like, Lang, where's my weapon? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, I know. Again, we're playing fuck games here, but it comes back to you. So what did you do with my gun? He was like, oh, in that case, I gave it to the guys at Tower 2. Tower 2 was half a mile down the road. And I was like, I'm not fucking running down to Tower 2. You didn't give it to them. You're fucking with me again. Fuck you. I didn't do that. So anyway,
sounds like they're taking it too far.
What an awful battle buddy. That's the worst battle buddy.
Yeah, with my time in the army, we would have just roasted this guy out of the army.
Exactly. But
Where did you find
Yeah,
out?
I'm army as well.
I want to hear the rest of his story, though.
He was an E3. I was a fuzzy. He had been in just a little bit longer than I had, which mattered, and he thought he was hot shit. So I'm this fuzzy private running around trying to find my weapon. And he told me this, and I was like, "No, I'm not fucking doing that." And it turns out that my squad leader had my weapon the whole time. I got it back. I had to do some push-ups, whatever. But at the end of the day, I was like, when you told me my weapon was half a mile away, I should have just fucking beat the mother living fuck out of you at that moment. I should have.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I was playing the game. You know,
he's supposed to have your back, and this is not having your back.
No.
Play the game, but when it was all said and done, I was like, and to this day, I'm like, I regret not smashing your fucking face in that moment.
Yep. In your situation, in uniform, I would have smashed that bloke's face in.
This was the very beginning of deployment. Are we
talking March 2003?
And we were there for a year. I was like, this would have set the tone. If I beat your fucking face in the first week we were there, it would have set the motherfucking tone. But I didn't because I was afraid. Like, oh, I'm just gonna play by the rules. But no, so, yeah. All that to say, if I could go back in time, I would have bashed his motherfucking face into the gravel. And I was like, where the fuck is my weapon? If you don't tell me, I'm gonna break your fucking arm and whatever else I have to.
Did he create other problems for other people as well?
Oh yeah. Oh, he got demoted.
He shouldn't be in there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People saw through his bullshit pretty quickly.
Good.
Do you know what the Brits used to call the Americans in Iraq? We used to say that you were all cowboys on a jolly. And it's idiots like that gave you that reputation to us. We used to say you were cowboys.
You could say it's idiots like that gave you ammunition.
There you go. 4:25 in the morning here. I can't words.
That's
right.
That's fine.
Yeah, I probably would have been the same. So, there you go. All right, Josh, what about you, my friend?
So, what you need to understand when it comes to stuff like this is a professional can tell you exactly what to do about something, but a master can tell you exactly what not to do. This tells us about the origins of wisdom is rooted in mistakes and learning and your pain. Now, if I'm going to go back, a lot of the things that we think suck, things that we would rather not have gone through, I want to keep all of that. I am not changing anything about my past. Anything that I cherish and love to this day would be in jeopardy if I were to change a single thing about my past. I am a product of my pain. I'm a product of my mistakes because I've learned from them and I've turned myself around on my fucking own. I don't need anything supernatural. I didn't need any crystals. I didn't need any fucking stones. All I had was my own fucking mind and a will to get myself past being an asshole and being a shitty fucking person. It is because of everything that I would love to change about my past is why I love my present. I would change nothing because I am who I am today and I am comfortable and I am confident in myself and I love myself today. That might not have been possible had I not been through everything that I've been through. So, no, sir.
So, hold on. Let me challenge you on that, Josh.
Please do.
Do you really think there's nothing in your life that had it gone differently, you would not be better than you are today?
There is definitely things in my past that would have gone differently, and I would be better off today. But I do not know what any of those moments actually are. Do you have any idea the insurmountable amount of data involved with the butterfly effect on anything in your past. The further back you go, the more shit you could possibly cause and change that you have no clue what affects it. You scratched your ass wrong. You had Pop-Tarts instead of pizza rolls. Fucking whatever. Change anything, you could change everything. Potentially. And I'm not jeopardizing the things that I love today.
I get that. My thing is like with the story I just told, I know for a matter of fact, if I could go back in time and smash that motherfucker's face into the ground, I would be better today.
Delighted with yourself.
Yeah, like
how
I
do you
would
know
be like better today.
punching that motherfucker in the face, you would have felt great. That it could have possibly gone. You could have gotten a medal for it, fucking somehow.
Yeah, probably
led
not.
to it, but everything that could have happened. He got punched in the face later on that day. Was a real asshole extra more just because he was an asshole and got called out for it and got punched in the face. Now his ego hurts and his face hurts. So he was a dick to somebody later on that day. And that just so happened to be somebody that like did something for you later on that day or the next week, or you ran into him a year later and some chain of events happened that led back to that moment, him not being an asshole, an extra bad asshole to somebody else because his fucking nose was broken. There's no telling what could happen when you change something. There's so many different things that can happen in a whim. Every day, every moment you're alive, there's so much shit that can go wrong. And when you wake up the next day and things didn't go wrong, you just gotta be grateful for that and do everything the best you can. And if I can change anything, I can't change everything. So I don't want to change anything.
That's totally fair. What I'm saying is like
I get what you're saying though.
I had an opportunity to stand up for myself, and I didn't. You know, and that affects me to this day. If I could go back in time and take that back and be like, this time I'm gonna stand up for myself, irregardless of the consequences, because I know that when I did not stand up for myself, when I played the game, I know how that ended up for me. And I feel like
I see what you're saying.
It's hard to
There's
imagine
a sequence of events. It's something that haunts you to this day in a negative manner. And you would like to not have that haunting. You would like to have stood up for yourself that day. What I'm saying is that though you can make that change that you know has a better outcome, at least personally for yourself.
Hey, Neil wants to say something real quick.
Well, first of all, thanks to Best in Show for the $10 super chat. Who also said the same thing. I would have beat the F out of a bully that I was scared of. And me too, by the way. It's haunted me for literally 52 years.
Yeah,
I can sort of relate. There's things that I wished I did differently, like with that mugger. I wished I took a different street so I didn't get stabbed. There's all kinds of stuff too. I can understand it. This is a big thing though, because that's your military career, and you're up against a guy who is there trying to sabotage the team instead of being a team player.
Exactly.
What I ponder about Dadpool is when you say that it haunts you to this day. What's the indelible mark that is left upon you in terms of what it's playing over in your mind? Because I mean, of course, there's been times where I've thought, I wish I could have a do-over on that one thing. But when I explore it and unpack it and wonder about how that moment has shaped me who I am today, I tend to find ways of thinking, well, I did get something positive out of it. It might not have been, that moment that was going to be pivotal for my entire life. But I am today the scars that I bear, whether they're good or bad. And so I wonder if you've ever kind of explored, what would it have looked like if I had hit him? Would I feel better today about that? Would I feel worse about that today? What is it that I'm carrying with me that makes me feel like that was the wrong decision to play their game? I mean, not that you have to share that with the whole group, but I just wonder if you've kind of...
Yeah, I'm an open book. I have no shame. No, that's a really good question. My consensus is, because I have thought about that. One, if I had stood up to him like I think I should have, I would not be feeling how I do today. That would be great, to be honest. Because that's a regret I have, like a genuine regret that I wish I could go back in time and change. So if I did that, I wouldn't have that feeling that I have now. But also, fuck, I was going somewhere with this. I lost it.
You thought about this before, you were saying.
Yeah. It's all.
Ollie's got to go. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody. I'll be talking to you all again on another feed, I imagine.
Thank you, Ollie. Enjoyed your input. Thank you.
Good night, Ollie.
Cheers.
Good luck at disc golf tomorrow. Anyway, carry on. Yeah, he plays in a league actually, or
That's
something.
a big thing in my area.
So he's not just chasing a frisbee around the field.
No. I have a neighbor who has a frisbee golf thing like in his yard, and like I'll just be sitting here and I'll hear like like, oh, he's practicing his frisbee golf game in his backyard.
I can safely say this is not a thing in the UK.
That's too bad.
Oh, it will be. It will be soon enough. Sure.
No, it won't be. The country's not big enough. The country's physically not big enough for stuff like that.
Sorry, but going back to Dadpool's thoughts, I mean, I also wonder, particularly when it comes to things like expressions of violence or aggression, which tends to be conceptualized differently between males and females, if maybe it's wrapped up in this idea of, standing up for oneself by being, physical rather than standing up. Because, I always felt, but again, it might have something to do with stature. I've never needed to be in a physical altercation because I'm over 6 feet tall and well over 200 pounds. Like, people don't tend to want to get into it with me. So I don't know how, if I felt like I needed to physically stand up for myself in a situation, if I had to speak back to the bully, rather than simply saying, I'm going to be a better person by not dealing with your shit, I'm leaving. Or, you don't want to have this argument here and now because who knows which one of us is going to come out on top. I wonder about these kinds of things in our past.
So I think it's, you have to understand like the military structure with this. Like it does not matter how good a soldier you are. If you outrank somebody, you outrank them.
Yeah.
At the time, because he had been in a little bit longer than me, he was a higher rank than me. He was a piece of shit. Everyone knew it. No one liked him, but he held rank above me. I was new. I was very squared away. Still am. But so here I am, a squared away soldier doing what I'm supposed to do. And then this very fucked up soldier like took advantage of me in this way. And I was supposed to just be like, okay, you're, and this is what I did. I was like, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm going to do what I can to apologize to you, apologize to everybody for the wrong that I have committed. When in reality, I should have been like, fuck you. I don't give a fuck what your rank is. You're a piece of shit. I'm a way better soldier than you are. And you're going to taste the gravel right now because I'm going to grind your face into it. That is what I wish my attitude was at the time. But it wasn't. And because
gravel pops.
Do you think it took more strength of character to do what you did rather than taking the swing? Anybody would have taken the swing. Fuck rank. But you chose not to do what other people would have done. Did that require you drawing upon a sense of self that you can hang on to today and say that you showed commitment to what rank meant, regardless of the asshole who had it?
No, I get that wholeheartedly. The issue is that's always who I've been. I've always taken the submissive position. I've always felt like everyone was right when I was wrong. I've always had this inferiority complex growing up. So this was my nature, and this was my opportunity to entirely justifiably go against my own nature and be aggressive for once and stand up for myself for once. And I didn't take that opportunity. I stayed on track. And so that's why I'm like, now I wish I had said, fuck my nature. I'm going to go off. I'm going to do something I've never done before. And I'm going to break your nose for walking all over me. But I didn't take that opportunity. I continue to let him walk all over me. So that is something that to this day, I'm like, I wish, I could go back and change.
It's kind of like banners saying the trick is that I'm always angry. You know,
Yeah.
like if you recognize that in yourself and yet you still decide, I'm not going to go off script. The funny thing about our natures is that no matter where we go, we are who we are. So sticking to who you are, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe you need to find a way of reframing it so that you're not left with this kind of regret so much as you're a new appreciation and understanding what it means about who you were at the time and who you are today because of the choice that you made then. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
No, you might be right. I might have a totally incorrect perspective. Like my reaction to this is very emotional. It's very visceral. So yeah, you could totally be right. I might just be looking at it all the wrong way.
Yeah, there's no such thing as correct or incorrect when it comes to emotional responses too. It's just a different perspective.
That's true. That's true. All right. Do you think you might have an answer for us now, Todd?
Well, now that I got a bunch of clues from everybody else, no, I've very much enjoyed listening to everybody's input, all their answers, and these kind of get-togethers are always amazing. I love to hear the different viewpoints. I guess what finally came to my mind was everyone here is probably a Hitch fan, and he did a wonderful soliloquy in Plano. I forget who he was debating, but it's a famous soliloquy now where he says, I hope I never feel like I've learned enough. I haven't, read enough. I haven't understood enough. I hope I'm always operating on the margins of a potentially great harvest. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about what I might change in my life, I'm always I've always, like I said, been a late bloomer. I chose my career late. I got married late, had kids late. And I came to reading and learning, the joy of reading and learning late. For my first 20 or 25 years, just didn't do a whole lot. I had older brother and sister that did most of my thinking and choices for me. I just didn't have to think a lot on my own. And if I could change one thing, it would be to have started the adventure of learning and reading more and reading outside even of my interests more. Yes, I'm satisfied with who I am right now, but I sometimes wonder. I don't have regrets, but I do sometimes wonder what I could have been if I had started 15 or 20 years earlier. It's kind of an interesting thought exercise, but I like to realize how ignorant I continue to be and how much more I have left to learn, that I'll never have all the answers. But who knows what might have happened if I just had a little earlier start. So that's kind of what I might have changed, is starting earlier.
Sure, for sure. I think for me, it's actually a pretty easy one because, boy, did I get in trouble for this one. I would say if I could go back in time, I would find myself as a young kid, probably I think the age of 9 or something. I think like I was, or 8 or 9, and I found some matches, and
never a good combination.
Never a good combination. Never give a 9-year-old a pack of matches,
especially males.
Yeah. And
Neil, the
I
604
remember
pyrotechnics.
Yeah, and I remember
Hey, Neil,
I was with a friend of mine.
Real quick, if you could, somebody in the chat named Lynn Dan. That's my girlfriend. Give her a wrench, if you could.
What?
Yes.
Make Lynn Dan a queen.
Oh,
yes, make her a queen.
Okay, hang on.
Hello, Lindan. It's nice to meet you.
You are now being called out by
You have no
the
idea how long it's been since
internet.
I've actually had a partner that has intellectually stimulating conversation with. It's amazing. So anyway, I just wanted to shout her out real quick. Love you.
All right.
Lucky you.
Your dating IQ?
I am lucky. Yep.
Sorry about that, Lynn. Sorry. I'm just kidding. A way to ruin the party, Neil. Anyway, so a 9-year-old kid with a pack of matches, and there was this. Me and a friend of mine used to run around and make fun of people, then run and hide. And we had this escape route where we could jump over the short fence. But one day, this giant prickle bush decided to grow right in front of our escape route. So I thought it would be a great idea if I burned the fucker down, except the entire fence caught and was burning up. And they were so close to the neighbors that it almost caught onto the roof there. So, yeah, the fire truck showed up and yeah, I got in a lot of trouble. I would probably go back in time and kick myself in the ass and say, don't even think about it because you're going to pay for that. And I was never ever really. Every time we talk about something like a family get together, that story always comes up. So I haven't lived it down.
You wouldn't go back in time and buy your Star Wars toys from your parents' garage sale?
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
That's
Yeah, because when I went away to Israel, my parents ended up splitting. So they sold a whole bunch of stuff, and they took all my Star. I had everything, fucking Star Wars, and they sold it all at a garage sale for like nothing. Yeah, and my Micronauts too, which were quite rare even to this day too.
No.
So, yeah, and all the old comics that I had, they sold those too, and I had like X-Men #1. I had like you name it, man. I had all.
What?
Yeah. I still collected comics, and I had a bunch with me in Israel that I had to bring back, and I still collected. But I had X-Men issues 1 through probably 13 at that point. So, and they sold all the comics. They sold a bunch of shit, and some of my Lego. Which,
But why were they selling your stuff?
Because I wasn't there to say no.
And there wasn't an internet to email them and say, Neil, can we sell this?
Yeah, they just the less they had to move out of there, the better. And I wasn't there to help them. So yeah, I still have the one Star Wars figure I still have somewhere. It's Boba Fett, and it was the one you had to mail away 5 box tops from the other Star Wars figures. Like you guys don't understand. I had the original Star Wars stuff, like with the vinyl capes, not the cloth capes. So I had Darth with a vinyl cape.
Yeah.
I had Ben with a vinyl cape. I had 6
And the
Jawas
lightsabers
with
that
a
came out
vinyl
of their
cape.
hands with the little
The
thing.
lightsabers that came out of the hands. Yeah, I had all of those. Original run. Yeah, I could be like a multi-gazillionaire by now from all the stuff that I had back then. At the land speeder, the big silent crawler that the Jaws had, the droid factory, the Death Star, the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, you name it.
Have you forgiven your parents yet?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
They're bigger man than I am.
Well,
I gotta say, tons of mice. You're better off following Neil around with a cup of tepid water.
Yeah. So, but yeah, actually, that's a great point, Randolph. I would probably go back in time and be the guy to buy all my own stuff off of them for pennies on the dollar and be a gazillionaire by now.
I wonder if your parents would look at you and think, "Huh, you look kind of familiar for some reason, but we can't quite put our finger on it."
I'm new in the neighborhood.
I'm just buying all of this stuff. All of those, and all of those. Heck, I was buying the whole garage sale.
Yeah. I mean, my dad even sold his boat and everything. So,
wow.
Yeah, if I get all on the boat, I'll take it all.
Yeah, throwing it all in the boat, and I'll just buy the boat too.
Whoever bought that stuff and wherever it ended up may have enriched somebody's life, both in terms of their own experiences and joy, or even wealth. And so, would you do that knowing you could be depriving someone who's worse off?
Okay, you know what? Q.
Shut up! That's why you invite me, isn't it?
Dude, I had. You can't even you try and find them now. I even had black hole figures.
Yeah, listen, I was there too, man. I had the full size GI Joes with the space capsule and the mobile command
warriors
and
like
the Kung Fu grip with the eagle eyes,
fucking flame tongue that stuck out, and Raideen and all the fucking Shogun warriors that were like.
But I still have my comics.
I am so glad I'm a part.
I gave all mine away.
I have the 4-issue limited edition set of Wolverine. I have the first Spider-Man with the black costume signed by the artist.
Secret Wars, yeah,
and Secret Wars 2. I still have all mine in plastic. I have no idea what they're worth now. I might buy a Tesla when I sell them.
Dude.
Hear that, Mikey? You're going to buy a Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah. Gorilla's going to sell all his comics and buy you a Tesla.
We buy us both a Tesla.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, I don't think I want
I had all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the old black and white ones when they first came out.
Oh, yeah. When they were independent, yeah.
Did you have the pizza launcher? The
turtle. No, I never. I had the 4 original figures that they came out with that had the little brown things with all their weapons on it. But I didn't really have anything else. I just wanted those, and I even had the Toxic Avenger.
Shit!
And everything. Yeah, I had Toxie.
Because
they made a cartoon out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, with the mop
and shit. Oh yeah.
That had the glow in the dark goo that came with it too, which was basically slime.
Memory lane over here.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yep, I had that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they made a cartoon out of the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking sweet. Actually.
Toxic Crusader.
Yeah.
But they also made a cartoon out of Invincible.
They did. Yeah.
Which was actually pretty good.
You're talking about the new one?
Yeah,
right?
on Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, it's fabulous. It is unreal.
Yeah.
So good.
What is this?
On Amazon. It's called Invincible. It's a play off of superheroes.
Yeah. It's on Amazon. It's based on a comic, the same company that did like Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff. And it's about a father and son who are superheroes.
Yeah.
I won't spoil the rest of it for you because when you watch
the father's from another planet too, like Superman, right?
Yeah.
Marries an Earth.
Well, he's basically Superman. He's Omni-Man.
Oh, Omni-Man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Omni-Man. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
For some reason, the title didn't click.
Fantastic show.
Yeah. Like The Boys too, right? Like this anti-superhero kind of. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a great series. Yeah,
I saw the first few episodes of that too.
Yeah, it's unreal. I don't know if have you guys seen Brightburn?
I took a pass on it. I don't. Maybe I should watch it.
Great.
Yeah.
Like a really fucking dark, twisted turn on what Superman could have been.
Yeah, I gathered.
Yeah.
Maybe
really
some
interesting.
night when I'm bored. I'm rewatching Farscape right now.
My wife and I have been enjoying
Me too.
The TV series Loki.
Which one?
Loki's great.
Oh, yeah.
That one's interesting.
I can't wait till Moon Knight comes out in the new year.
Oh,
I want to see how they do that.
So cool.
And I just love the way they describe it. Mark Spector has the powers of the god of the moon, Khonshu, or he may or may not be crazy.
my buddy's like, they got to do a movie of Rom. I'm like, they're never going to do a movie of Rom. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, all right. Well, I guess we'll wrap things up because my roommate made some
pesto chicken.
Yeah,
Pesto chicken, yes.
And I could smell the garlic.
Is it wafting?
Man, my stomach's going, hurry the fuck up.
What's the size?
Wrap this shit up, Neil.
Nothing. It's just going to be a giant bowl of pesto. It's all fucking mowing down. And a side of beer, okay?
Okay. All right. Nice.
What I will say is that you're not being that arsehole that eats on stream.
No, I won't do it. I mean, I have in the past as a joke.
Yeah,
I've eaten like chips or something, but, or popcorn. But yeah, no.
I think I did it last time only because I had a point that I needed to jump in and make, and I was only halfway through my corn dog.
Corn dogs are acceptable. I will be okay with food on
pogos,
sticks.
as we call them in Canada. I always knew them as pogos.
Yes.
And they're better than corn
the hedgehog respects your corn dogs.
Wait, pogos? What?
Hey, but these
they call them
are
pogos here.
Those are
fake.
fake.
Those are good. Yeah.
Nice.
I had those the other day.
We have crisps that are almost identical to that, but they're not called Lays in this country.
No, but these are from India. These are actually imported from India.
Oh,
yeah, I can't see because most of the bag is missing.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because of green screen.
What
dear? It's great.
All right, you guys. All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to again thank my guest tonight, Dr. Todd F. Miller, for coming on and talking about how he didn't really deconvert from anything, but we went on and on about critical thinking, which I very much appreciate. Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, and I've enjoyed hearing all y'all's aspects and opinions about this as well. It's been a joy talking with all of you. Thank you.
For social equality.
By the way, Todd, if you ever see me doing an after party in your live and you want to jump in, just let me know and I'll send you a link and you're welcome to join us.
I genuinely appreciate that, Neil. Thank you so much for your graciousness. You've been awesome.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been a lot of fun. Also, thanks all you guys for jumping in here with us tonight, and all the folks that were here.
Yes, thank you.
No longer.
Stevie, Randolph, QG, Deadpool, Josh. Thank you.
And thanks to Nick and Kevin and Sabrina and Artie, who were in here also with us earlier. Thank you guys out in the chat for hanging out with us. I hope you guys had a good time tonight and enjoyed the after party tonight. If you missed the interview, there is a link below to it there, and you can find all the relevant links for Dr. Miller as well as his Facebook link is there, and a link to his book if you are interested in checking out the book on critical thinking. Also, as I always like to say, first of all, we can get rid of this ticker because we're done with that. Thanks to my amazing patrons. You guys are awesome, and you really are the reason I'm able to keep doing this. So thank you for everything you do for the show. And don't forget that very soon, Randolph and myself are starting up our own call-in show called True North Talk. We do have a YouTube channel. You can head over there and sub. If you want to learn more about the show, you can head over to www.truenorthtalk.ca because we're Canadians. And it'll tell you all you need to know about that. We should be launching it pretty soon. Still in the midst of building the studio. I know I keep saying that. I've been saying that for over a year. To be
I was going to say, it's been over 12 months. Very soon. I like the relative terms.
I have bills to pay, so it's taking me time to get enough time to work on it. So I do have to work. So
and Neil's down to 1 foot.
Yeah. So were you saying this on like the Eric Murphy story or like the Matt Dillahunty story?
I've been saying it for a long time, but that's okay. Well, I do have a Matt Dillahunty story, and I do have an Eric Murphy story. Yes.
You're talking about launching, and I have to mention something real quick. I'll be soon unveiling Sapien. It's a moderators consortium that spans all platforms and all expertise. A group of handpicked individuals that know how to moderate and know how to de-escalate situations, that can be called into a situation when there's raids, and people who know how to talk people down. And it's going to be a group, any platform, anywhere that somebody can just sign up for and have a crew that come in if they're having problems with trolls.
It's going to be like the cloud player of channel moderation.
Yeah, totally organized. There'll be a Discord server and everything to go along with it to log trolls and their sock accounts and everything, people who look out for, and tutorials on how to handle certain things. It's a troll nightmare. And I'm going to be launching that soon. I'm getting people together, and I'm getting that all set up. So trolls, look the fuck out. I'm not fucking around.
All right. Very good. Yeah, so head over to the channel and sub if you haven't already. And also, I'm one of the new hosts, along with many other fantastic people that are some of the new hosts of the revamped and relaunched Nonprofits, which airs on Sunday afternoons, 3 p.m. between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. If you're unfamiliar with it, you head over to the channel and give them a sub there, and you'll see my ugly mug and a bunch of other mugs there as well. Anyway, also on the last Saturday of every month, around 2 p.m. Pacific time, myself and Andy and Seamus. Andy does a little channel called Laughing at Disbelief. He's an atheist comedian, and Seamus is one of the members of the Free Thought Prophets. And we do a little show called Atheist Drinking Out Loud. And we generally have a guest that we ask to come and join us for the episode. They usually run about 2 hours, and we pick some interesting topics or funny topics, and we, generally drink and make fun of it. Yeah, so you never know when I might come knocking on your DM box with an invite to come and hang out with us for a couple hours on that last Saturday of every month. Our last guest was Bionic Dance. If you missed that episode, it is available on Laughing at Disbelief, and it was a really good one. So, all right, so until then, guys, like I always say at the end of these after parties.
Titties.
Well, yeah, thanks, Duke.
Duke's not here, man. I got to represent him.
That's right. Well, he was, actually. He popped into the chat. But as the late, great Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Peace.